Good morning, Groovers. Well, good morning from Australia at least. Hang on, where's my face? There it is. Hi, everyone. It's just after 11 a.m. in parts of Australia, the part I'm in at least. And some of you Groovers rolling in as well. Say a few g'days to this awesome community that I adore. Joey Wilson was here bright and early before we even kicked off. Cement Shoes. G'day, Groover. Hi, Francesca. I'll do my best not to block you today. In fact, I'm not going to block anyone today. Moderators, no blocking. Hopefully some people will come in with a different point of view. I'd really like some discussion about this. We've also got Humanimal here. Aloha. Wake the Truck Up America. Sup, peeps? Yo. Little good day, everyone, too, from Sunny, the gratuitous Sunny shot, the channel mascot. Really good to see all of you, and I hope you're all enjoying your Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning, midday, lunchtime, wherever you may be. We've got a bit to chat about today. I'm also happy to open up the panel. It'll be fun to get some conversation. It's 11:07 a.m. but also 1987. I can't do a thing. Oh, you can't do a thing with your hair? Messy top knot. It's always the solution for me. But yeah, a lot to talk about. I mean, the Zav Girl thing is being discussed a lot, and there are people now complaining about that. And no, I will never complain about that. I think the more channels that talk about it, the better. Because the real thing that's, I guess, at the core of my issue with all of this is we're part of a community, and communities evolve because of social interaction, and laws come about because in a democracy, because people don't like something that's going on, and it's conversations that lead to those changes. And as you guys know, the focus of this channel primarily is the way social media is impacting both criminal and civil trials. But even, I mean, we've even looked at, you know, the way social media is impacting all sorts of things outside of that as well. But there is a little bit of a true crime, obviously. There's a lot of a true crime focus. And that includes looking at what's going on in our community. I mean, most of us met through the true crime, the OG true crime community. Many of us were highly active in true crime communities prior to YouTube. So it's sort of, for many of us, that's how we've all connected. I know that I've attracted a lot of people to my other channel because of the fabulous cooking that I do, but some of you might be here because of that. But for the most part, true crime is actually at the core of this channel, but in particular, the focus as a lawyer is how social media needs to catch the fuck up with what's going on. So anyone that you're watching talking about the Zav Girl thing, saying, oh, everyone just needs to shut up, they're monetized, they're making money off it as well. I just want to let everyone know this channel isn't monetized. So you can't use that argument against me. And like I said, the only way democracies change is because communities gather together and go, this activity that's going on, we're not okay with it, and we need a law to say that it's not okay. So keep talking about this stuff, guys. I actually think people who have opinions on it that are not saying anything really need to find their voices, either by joining a community that is discussing it, be part of the chat, even just participating by giving a creator a thumbs up or something like that, just showing your support. Just be involved. If this is something that's really upset you, be involved. You're all talking about your haircuts. Check you guys out. Who had their hair cut? You did, Francesca. 9:08 p.m. for you on Monday evening, then, cement shoes. Sorry, Wednesday. What day? No, Tuesday. It's Wednesday here in Australia. Did I kick this all off by saying it was Tuesday in Australia? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, look, the Natasha Cooper thing, I'm really not that interested in delving into that. I listened to her live that she did justifying why she did it. I mean, to be honest, the only thing about Natasha Cooper that I'm interested in is, how did you get that file, Natasha? Did you pay for it too, or did you just go, thanks, Zav? That's actually the issue I have with her, but there's no point in me going down that road because it's actually Zav Girl that started all of this, in my opinion, but also, as already discussed on this channel a couple of times before, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it today, but the core of the issue really is, why are people still even able to access this stuff? There are states in America where you just can't access this sort of information, and other states clearly you can. So you've got to go right back. As much as I'm disgusted with what Zav did, and we will be talking about that as well, the core of the issue is none of this would have happened if that information wasn't available. And when I live in a country where you can access an autopsy, if like report, photos, whatever, if you are a direct member of that family, and you have to provide evidence, and it's a pretty strict procedure, and sometimes even next of kin may not succeed in applications for various reasons. But me as a member of the public making out I'm this, interested true crimer with a fascination with science, there's no way in fucking hell I'm ever going to be able to see that stuff. And guess what? I'm fine with that. I don't need to. Enough stuff comes out in court during trials, enough graphic information for me to not have to actually see the photos. I'm not going to learn anything more from them. In fact, they're probably going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Also, the creators who are defending this by saying, if you can't handle gory stuff, you shouldn't be in true crime. Way to miss the point. Why are you deflecting for Zav? She's already doing a really good job of that all by herself. It's not about that. The outrage is not about people being able to see something graphic in a true crime case. Are you fucking idiots? We're not stupid. Everyone knows it's graphic. We are constantly reminding each other to look out for our mental health, have a break from stuff if it's affecting you, if you're losing sleep, all of that sort of stuff. Everyone knows true crime is graphic. The word crime indicates it's going to be graphic, for fuck's sake. So the creators that keep going, well, maybe you're not cut out for true crime. No, maybe I'm not cut out to be part of a community where shitbags get away with being shitbags. It's as simple as that. Tori going to get fired up. Tori angry. Oh, I know you're listening, him animal. You'll be listening more because I'm going to shout. No, I'm not really. No, she hasn't. And that's another thing. I had a comment which has now been deleted because, people get bolshy and they go to a channel and they leave a little comment and I take the time to respond and then they delete. The dirty deleters. I had a comment yesterday that said, why would you even care about this being in Australia? What the F has it got to do with... No, sorry. It didn't... Why are you so pissed off with Zav Girl or angry at Zav Girl when you're in Australia? And I was like, YouTube's international, but also I really got fired up about Zav Girl in the way she handled the Cleo Smith case. I was also incredibly vocal about the Kylie Rodney stuff, but to be honest, prior to the Cleo Smith thing, I didn't find her to be a creator of any substance. The fact that she's teetering towards 100,000 subscribers, absolutely. I don't have words. I'm shell-shocked. Who are these nearly 100,000 people that think she's a credible YouTuber when it comes to true crime? Because she doesn't actually have very strong opinions about anything unless there's an opportunity to be voyeuristic, and she's very good at that, isn't she? But she's always like, oh, I don't know, guys. I did think about doing a parody of her. I might when the dust has settled a bit more, because I've got a tie-dye top, nothing as loud as hers, but I can easily make myself look a bit like her. And I could do her covering a case and demonstrate how inefficient she is. But yeah, so the person that was concerned about me being involved in discussing this because I'm an Australian, well, firstly, Australians like to fucking talk about shit. Secondly, she covered an Australian case and had the photo of an innocent man up on her screen, and I went into her chat and said, Terence Kelly's actually suing every media outlet in Australia at the moment for putting his face out there and saying he's the alleged kidnapper, and he's not. You might want to take it down. You know, a friendly little mateship, a little Aussie mateship, not that she's my mate, but a little, g'day. Don't when you get sued, maybe take that guy's photo down. I got blocked for that. Well, I got timed out. Then I was released back into the wild, into the chat, and I've made a few more comments and boom. But I think I must have been timed it again because I don't think you can comment when you're blocked. But in any event, somehow I ended up in the chat section, in the comment section. And underneath a comment by one of her mods, I went, great live, Zav. Really great live. And I was like, you reckon? You think it's great for her to have the photo of an innocent man who's been falsely accused up on the screen? You think that makes it for a good live? Well, anyway, did I get ripped a new one? I got ripped about 30 new ones. They're pretty feral, those supporters of Zav. But yeah, so Cleo Smith is where I initially thought I need to get more vocal about this girl. Like up until that point, I didn't see the point in talking about her. Just like I'm not going to cover Bullhorn Betty or Laura, Life Perplexed, defending Zav, because why give them any airtime? They sound like fucking idiots defending this shit. Just like Zav Girl sounds like a fucking idiot not owning it. Here's a tip, Zav. If you'd gone live and said, look, I did justify my actions initially as to why I did this video and put it in Patreon and so on, because I was standing by what I did because I believed in what I did. But I believe what I did was, okay. But now that I've had some feedback, in hindsight, I realise I did step over a line, and I am sorry for that. And also maybe issue an apology to the family who didn't need any of this shit. Also, all you fuckers who contacted the family, I'm not going to say you're as bad as Zav, but you need to have a little think about yourselves as well. Don't be going live saying how the family is being re-victimised and then contact the family to let them know about this. You're the ones re-victimising them even more. Anyway, yeah, if Zav had just owned it, now I still wouldn't subscribe to her and go, she's a good egg, she owned her shit. But the way YouTube rolls, Diane's channel, no apology either. But if you do actually apologise for something, like at least I could say, look, I still think you're a piece of shit, and I still don't know why nearly 100,000 people watch you, but at least you had the integrity and the morals to own up to your mistake. But all she's doing is deflecting and blaming everybody else. And Patreon has an issue with what you did too, Zav, which is why your Patreon no longer exists. So if you want to keep blaming all the YouTubers and everything else, and you don't think that the YouTubers that are speaking out about this have valid points, don't you think you might want to then question why Patreon's taken your Patreon down? It's not just little dinky YouTubers like me that have an issue with you. Patreon has an issue with you. You fucked up. Own it. Rant over. Well, it's not. I don't have notes. I'm just going to get shit out while I think of it. Unbelievably disrespectful. And I'm not going to go into all of the graphics details about what she did and all the rest of it. Where I want this chat to be focusing a bit today is how it's actually really good that people are speaking up about this, because this is how we make our community better. And the people who are defending her don't have one valid argument to defend it, because it's indefensible. Just ask Patreon. And you know what? I've done a bit of research. It's not that the privacy laws have changed to allow things to be public knowledge. It's that some states have still got laws that allow people to access this stuff. So, yeah, not every state in the States is the same when it comes to this sort of stuff. The core problem is it shouldn't be available to every Tom, Dick and Harry. There's a reason why certain info is sensitised in trial. Exactly. Dawn Kane, hello. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Preach, sister. Not subject to conformity. She probably buys subs. I like your name. She probably buys subs. Her views don't match her sub count. Yeah, I haven't actually really, social bladed the crap out of her or anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. We all know how exponentially her channel grew with her coverage of Kylie Rodney, because there were a whole heap of people out there that desperately wanted it to be foul play. I mean, it still makes my stomach churn that the hashtag Team Foul Play came about during the Kylie Rodney case discussion. What sort of fucked up person even thinks that's cool? Hashtag Team Foul Play. You actually wanted her death to be more terrifying and graphic than it already was? You sick fucks. But they all found Zav, the Team Foul Play people, because she was all about it too. And she was all about fucking with a shitload of innocent people's lives, primarily teenagers, who are now forever on Google. When you type in their name, up their name pops with accusations of them having murdered one of their friends. Nice work. Nice work, hashtag Team Foul Play. Aren't you a bunch of nice people? And this goes back to my point again, why we need to keep talking about this stuff. We are part of a community. We're all observers. We love this community for whatever fucked up reason. I still don't actually know why I love it so much that I can't leave it. But I do for some reason. I mean, I love this community. We've got the smartest, funniest community imaginable, and smallest on YouTube, and I love that about us. I love that we can hang out and just have good old chats about stuff with differing opinions, differing tastes. Don't worry, I won't play 1927 again. Who was it who had to leave? Francesca. But we're part of a community. Participate in it. Like, I know heaps of people on YouTube don't do fucking anything for the actual communities they live in. They don't volunteer. They don't fucking do a thing. So it's not going to be second nature for them to want to make our community online better. But I do. And we can, by saying you've crossed a line, you've gone too far, you've stooped too low, and we're not happy about it. And that's how this community will change. But it could also bring about legislative changes. What's just happened might be making some states that are still so free to hand out, so happy to hand out this stuff to people, might start rethinking it a little bit. I mean, the debate to tighten these privacy laws in America, I was reading an article this morning from 2005, and I was thinking, where have the changes occurred? And I found an article that shows where different states have brought in different legislation. It's a pretty interesting rabbit hole to go down, or it could be to me because I'm a nerdy lawyer. But the thing is, it's a topic that's probably been discussed ad nauseum and at length long before 2005 as well. Don't we want to make our planet a better place? Why doesn't that extend to an online community that so many people spend so much time of their lives frolicking in? Of course we want it to be better. And I don't have to go live and call Zav Girl a cunt or anything like that to bring about a change. I mean, how I personally feel about her might be that word, but I'm Australian. We also call our mates cunts. So, take it as you will. Like, we don't have to rip people to shreds, but we can call out their bullshit, and that's what people are doing. And Zav had an opportunity to take accountability and own it, and she's still sinking her little heels in and refusing to, and that's why people are pissed off. You're showing you're not a good person. And what would happen to her in a real community? If you had a little shitbag person in your community that kept doing shitty things, never took accountability for it, blamed it for everyone else, what would happen to them? Everyone would disconnect. They'd be like, fine, we've tried with you. You're a piece of shit. I'm not hanging out with you anymore. Are 100,000 people going to leave her channel though? No, because there's people in that group that are team foul play and they're voyeuristic as well. And I'm not criticizing voyeurs at all. Everyone has their place in our community. But in the real world, if you had a friend that did something like Zav, you'd call them out. And if they still didn't take responsibility, you'd go, that's pretty fucked. Why can't you own it? You fucked up. We all fuck up. Way more respect for people that can own up to their bullshit. And I think this is why so many people have a fire in their belly. Now, a lot of people have their fires in their belly about the content that was shown, and rightly so. There are other people that have a fire in their belly about what Natasha Cooper did. Rightly so, go for it. Like I said, to me, the core issue is none of this would have happened if she couldn't have accessed that shit. Let's look at that issue and see how it can be fixed. Well, it can, because other states in America have fixed that. And other countries in the world never made it. It was never allowable in the first place, like Australia. But then the fact is, because there are states that allow this shit to get in people's hands, then you've got to look at the people who access that stuff and what they do with it. And this is where I'm pissed off with Zav. Because if she's interested in science and learning more about a case and she wants to spend $400 getting that stuff, and you can get that stuff legally, go for it, Zav. But don't then put it behind a paywall in a Dropbox that isn't password protected. Go through it in graphic and pretty vile detail, and then get all upset when it gets leaked, although I couldn't find it on Reddit today, by the way. If anyone does, I mean, I don't want to see the Dropbox, but a lot of people are saying it's all over Reddit, and I thought I found something on Reddit a couple of days ago, but I went back to look for it today and I can't find it. So I'm not 100% convinced it did leak out onto Reddit, unless someone can show me some proof of it. But in any event, I also think where Zav really fucked up was she was given the entire file. Did she have to share absolutely everything? No, she didn't. If you want to look at autopsy photos and discuss the science behind them, then that's what you show. You don't show the photo of the suitcase and Gannon in the suitcase and Gannon outside of the suitcase. You had a discretion and you didn't exercise that either. That's where I have an issue with Zav. Oh, the gamer chair. I know. What did you guys think of my thumbnail? I'm sure I've got on my computer that blew up, I had really great facial expressions of hers, but I like that one of her eyebrows looks like a little sperm in the thumbnail. Hey, Joman. Start up that web browser. The justice system as a whole and certain reputable media sources have a responsibility with graphic info and a responsibility to protect victims. So why is it okay then just to release it to the world? Exactly. I know I'm behind in chat, but yeah, exactly. Everyone else is held to such high account. But the problem is that anyone can be on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. You don't have to be a professional, and stuff like this can be put in your hands and you're not held to account. There's a flaw. Our community is flawed and we need to address it. And the only way things will change is if we address it. It is the Death Vultures Club. Hi, Mel Mac, with your little bee. How are you? Yeah, her Patreon is gone. Let me just double check that. Why don't we share some stuffs? You don't need to look at my face anymore. I'm going to show you some things. Here we go. Patreon. Let me move you over closer to StreamYard. Here we go. This page has been removed, guys. So, yeah, if you look up... Oh, it's not showing on the screen now. Hang on. Still not. It won't show the top bit where I typed... Actually, look, hang on. Let me just refresh. Because right at the top, I've got patreon.com/Zav Girl. I'm just going to refresh. Yeah, she's still gone. But let me see if I can... All right, so here we are in the Google machine. I click on Zav Girl, creating videos. She gone. And what great videos she creates. Actually, Humanimal, I don't think it was a great income earner for her. Someone who bounced into her Patreon when this scandal all erupted said that she actually didn't have a lot of content on there anyway, and I think she gained, I don't know, 20 more people even with this maybe, or was it Natasha that gained 8? I don't know. I don't think it was a great income earner for her. I think some people's Patreons are, but her channel is where she's making the dollars. 30 grand a month during Kylie Rodney to be sensationalistic and basically hashtag team foul play and blame innocent teenagers for 30 grand a month. She's never going to make money like that on Patreon. But no, people were actually in one of the lives I listened to. It might have been Deets on the Streets. They were talking at the time because her Patreon was still up about how many, I don't know what the terminology is, their subscribers, how many thumbs ups. It was pretty low numbers. But, I mean, obviously you do get the regular monthly donations. But, yeah, I mean, unless she had like, I don't know, I don't even know what her highest tier was. I know that Natasha Cooper's highest tier is $100 a month. Imagine fucking paying that. Gee, Natasha, I hope you're doing some quality content to warrant. Who's got $100 a month to spare at the moment to spend on groceries and bills and the things where they should be spending their money? Florida's wide open. Yeah, it's really good to have you here, Dawn. Hang around, I hope. I agree, Melmac, but I agree all autopsy. I mean, I think absolutely regarding minors. But I don't think it's okay for me to access the autopsy photos of an adult that I have absolutely no connection to whatsoever, except for being a voyeur. I shouldn't be able to access them either, in my view. I think the laws in Australia are spot on. You can, if you are next of kin, you can apply, but you've got to provide like birth certificates and all sorts of things to show that you are directly connected. And like I said, you still may not even get approved. Oh, wow. Brian Entin's onto it, Bowling with Cotton Balls. How are you? I still love your name. I tell you that every time you come in here, but I do. Because Bowling with Columbine's one of my, I guess, favourite. That's a weird word to use, isn't it? But that documentary, holy shit, it freaked the fuck out of me when I saw people buying ammunition in supermarkets. And I've lived in America. I know the drill, but wow. That's true too. It's not subject to conformity. It does. It smears the whole community, which is why we need to speak up and go, look, there's shitty people everywhere, and we don't want anything to do with this shitty person. We're not like that shitty person. If we don't speak up and if we don't keep the momentum going, then we're letting our own community down. Oh, wait, he got a roasting on News Nation. Should I play that? Melmac, what do you reckon? I get the US have constitutional rights and that's completely okay, but when do we get to a point when those rights allow people to shit on humanity? Yeah, it makes my blood boil too. And if I hear one more person go, it's my rights, it's my rights, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my mind. We've got the same rights in Australia. They're just not in our constitution. But in Australia, if you did something really fucked up and then it went, it's my right, you'd probably get run out of town. I mean, I was going to say something worse. You'd get a massive wedgie and run out of town. No, I was going to say something way worse than that. I'm sick of people saying it's my right. It doesn't. Your right doesn't extend to you being an asshole, motherfuckers. Your right to bear arms doesn't extend to you walking into a school and shooting 30 children. For fuck's sake. Rights should be respected. Go and live in a communist country for even a week, a month. Go to Vietnam. I lived in Vietnam. Go to Vietnam in Hanoi, though, because I was further down the China coast and it was pretty awesome. Go to Hanoi for a month and talk to the residents there about what it's like to not have a say in who governs your country. If you have a right to anything, cherish that thing with all your heart. Respect it and don't use it as an excuse or a justification for your own shitty behaviour. Your right to an opinion doesn't mean your opinion isn't fucked up. I'm not going to say you can't have one, but if it's a fucked up opinion, I am going to say something. Hit someone, Francesca. Was it Joman? Core problem is when you have freedom, you also have responsibilities. People tend to forget the latter part, the obligation. Exactly, Joman. Rights and privileges are not a free pass to be an asshole. You'd love to see the look on her face now after she got roasted. I'm wondering if we should play it. What do you reckon? Hey, Anastasia Beaverhausen. No, I agree, Melmac. Isn't it scary? She does have a sperm brow. Yeah, she did claim to be attacked. I've got her apology. Not her apology. I've got her addressing the masses about how she's being attacked. Is she hey, Miss Kay, I don't know, has she ever practiced? Like, just because she's studied it? I mean, isn't it interesting that someone who studied psychology could be so out of touch with human psychology that everyone's outraged and disgusted by this, apart from a couple of people who are defending her who just like big fucking wankers for doing it. And she's like, I'm being attacked. It's like, no, people are calling you out because you did something really fucked up. It's that simple, Zav. You're not being attacked. We're talking about how you fucked up. And like I said earlier, if you went, I fucked up, I did think what I did was perfectly okay, but I've, on self-reflection and spending a bit of time looking at what I've done, I see now why everyone's so upset, and I didn't even think it through to that extent. I didn't think it through. I didn't think people would be mortified. But because I've spent some time self-reflecting, I understand now why it has upset people, and it's my fault. I'm accountable for this, and I am actually sorry. Like I said, I still wouldn't subscribe to her if she did that. But I'd be like, awesome, let's all move on. And this will never happen again, hopefully. But instead, because she's sinking her little heels in and she's got the highly credible likes of Bullhorn Betty and Life Perplexed backing her, it's pissing people off even more. Here's an idea, Zav Girl. You want to look at an autopsy photo for educational purposes, get off your hippie ass. Hey, wait a minute. Just on that. Calling her a hippie is an insult to hippies. She ain't no hippie. You don't put on a tie-dye top, doesn't make you a hippie. In fact, all the hippies in my life wouldn't be seen dead in a high-vis tie-dye top. Get off your hippie ass, use all your super chat income and take yourself off to fucking med school. A great idea. And she'll get her own cadaver that she can cut and slice and poke and prod till her heart's content. Someone's mentioned the community posting. I'm going to bring that up next, I think. Oh, Entin called it out too. Well, fuck it. I'm going to be the Australian Brian Entin because I've already got it lined up to go through. Yeah, she made a shitload with Kylie Rodney. Yeah, making people join up to have a look at it is vile, and Natasha Cooper doesn't see the problem with that either. And it's like, there's really no point. Like, we're not going to convince them unless they take a good hard look at themselves. You know what I mean? But it's still worth talking about because there's opportunities for change in so many areas. There's opportunities for some of the states of America to go, we really need to tighten this shit up. We got to lock it down. There's already states in America that you can't access this stuff. And then as far as the YouTube community goes, like, we're uniting and getting tighter and closer the more people do speak up about this stuff and have an opportunity to talk about how they feel. And the little pissy people that are somehow finding some weird way to defend her, they don't look, there's no point even reacting to them as much as I'd like to, because some of the one-liners I came out with for Life Perplex the other night were hilarious. But what's the point? They're like two people defending her in a sea of outrage. Like, I'll play devil's avocado for the sake of a lively discussion and just pitching a different point of view. But I'm not going to do it to get support like Laura did with Molly as well and keep defending somebody who fucked up majorly and is no longer even on YouTube. Like, I'm not going to do that. But if we're having a debate about something and everyone's kind of in agreement, I'll be the devil's avocado and take the other side. Bring it on. But not when we're talking about reprehensible bullshit behaviour in our community. Yeah, she was. It's hard. I don't know if you can even access Patreon statistics, but I don't think it would have grown much, to be honest. Hey, Emily, you've said your piece. Where did you say your piece? I agree, Dawn. Oh, so you want me to read the apology? No, it's not an apology. The defense. Let's do that. You do have the right to be silent, Joman. Shh. Oh, yeah, true. Why don't people use that right? Yeah, she does have a degree. What I was saying was I don't know if she's actually practiced as a psychologist. And, yeah, did she graduate? She studied so she could understand herself. Well, it didn't pay off. She's got absolutely no self-reflection at all or self-awareness. True, yep, 52% in Australia back when I was at uni. That's all people needed to get law degrees. No. God, you guys are funny. Graduate's been an asshole. She did say, yeah, scientific purposes, scientific and educational. Let me just refresh and see if Natasha Cooper's Patreon's still there, because it was, oh, damn it. So, Natasha, just before we go into Zav's thoughtful letter to all of us, outraged folk. Damn it. Natasha's is still up there. She hasn't. I briefly saw the Glera's live yesterday. Zav Girl was in the chat trying to justify her actions. He provided her a link to come up. Her internet was playing up. She wouldn't. Yeah, typical. She's got a master's degree. Look, fly that Karen flag with pride. I think everyone should be a Karen when this sort of shit happens in our community. I think it's imperative. All right, let's bring up. I don't need to obviously play. I was going to play Tragedy Pimp's Exposed little video for anyone who didn't know what's going on, but everyone knows what's going on, and that's good. I've also got her original comments about it, which we might play that after we look at her community post BS. Let your freak flag fly. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, so brace, strap yourself in, guys. We're going to see how Zav is, you know, we're going to read this beautiful letter of apology. Wait a minute, what am I doing? I wanted to just, can I expand? I can't expand. Interesting. You sure? Damn you. All right. So brace yourselves, guys. I was going to play some, do we need some violin? Actually, I won't play violin because there's nothing. Yeah, I think we all do, humanimal. All right. I'm going to open up my panel after this too, by the way. We can all have a chat and get it all out there. Hey, guys. Not dear people of YouTube who I have upset accidentally. Hey, guys. It's like, hey, guys, let's go to the pub for a drink. Hey, guys, I'm about to write about why I put the autopsy photos of a deceased child behind a paywall in a Dropbox that wasn't password protected, and I didn't even exercise discretion and remove some of the most graphic ones. And I'm telling everyone it was for scientific and educational purposes, even though I didn't even know what maggots look like. Sorry, I am a bit graphic. Start playing the world's smallest violin. It's taking some water. I'm thirsty. I want to address what's going on right now with the Gannon autopsy / coroner video I created. Well, let's just stop there for a second. What's going on right now is you're a shitbag and people are upset with you. As for now calling it the Gannon autopsy / coroner video, according to people who bravely took one for the team and went into your Patreon, paid their $3 and looked at what you had produced, you talked over the top of the coroner. You didn't listen to what the coroner was saying at all. You were zooming in on wounds. You were zooming in going, what's that? You put a photo of Gannon while he was still alive next to the photo of his decomposing face and questioning if the teeth matched. You do know that is Gannon in those photographs. Don't pretend this is for scientific and educational purposes when you are pulling stunts like that. Is it actually him? The teeth look different. Yeah, here's a tip, Zav. When a tiny little child is incredibly decomposed, their teeth are going to be slightly different. That's what decomposition does. But anyway, I digress. I need some more of my tea. Breathe, Tori. Calm down. I'm fired up and I only got to the first full stop. No, second. Sorry, second. She put one after hey, guys, because that's not where a full stop goes. Joe Madre, how are you? Is she deranged, though? Because I'm starting to think she is incredibly smart and knows exactly what the fuck she's doing. She's got nearly 100,000 subs. She's making a shitload of coin. She plays dumb all the time. I'm not going to criticize her for being a voyeur. There's voyeurs everywhere. You kind of have to have a little bit of a voyeuristic streak to even be in true crime. But it's not the only reason most people are into it. Oh, yeah. I've missed you too, Joe Madre. It is beyond disturbing, Dawn. But yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, Joman. Let's continue. Unfortunately, this seems to be something where people are very divided on how they feel about it. And I'm hearing a lot from both sides. You're actually not. You're hearing the majority of people, and I'm talking 99.99% of people on YouTube saying this is fucked up, and Bullhorn Betty and Life Perplexed saying, no, it's not. So I'm not sure where you're getting your info from, but they are the only two people I have heard defending you. And I'm not even sure Bullhorn Betty defends Zav. I think she takes the true crime is gory, grow up. You're not snowflakes. I think that was her attitude. I think Laura is the only one who's actually said she doesn't owe anyone an apology. I mean, there's a couple of people taking the true crime is gory line, and we've already covered that. We fucking know that. This isn't about that. This is about the reprehensible actions of someone who accessed gory information and put it out there for the world to see. I will originally, made people pay to see it. And then, oopsie, didn't password protect it. Oops, didn't take the really graphic photos out. That's what people are fired up about. Not that true crime is a messy subject. We friggin' know that. It's all summed up in the word crime. Well, you hear the word crime, what's the first thing you think of, people? Blood. Or am I the only one? I'm going to have a look at my chat and see. It is all about the money grab. Yeah, if they defend her, it does say it all. And even to take on defending her just to be edgy and maybe get some of her supporters over there backing you, because that's what happens when you defend people like Molly and Zav, or you want their audience to come over and go, finally, someone who cares about our beautiful Zav. But everyone else can see through it. And you sound like Laura. If you want to defend her, come up with some really good arguments defending her instead of saying to people, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I am so tired of you saying that. Grow up and come up with an argument that has merit. I get it. If you're driving along in your car and a song comes on the radio and you don't like it, change the channel. We're talking about somebody's behaviour being disgusting and smearing our community that we value and we enjoy being part of. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to watch people like Zav Girl specifically so I can contribute and help make this community better and get rid of the trash. So you're little, if you don't watch it, don't like it. I don't watch it because I don't like her. She put an innocent man's photo up during the Cleo Smith case, and I politely suggested she take it down because Terence Kelly was suing the fuck out of everyone who did that, and I got blocked on her channel. And that was the best thing that could have ever happened. And I haven't been back since. I did cover her coverage of Kylie Rodney because that flipped my tit as well. I'm going to watch the people I don't like because they're the ones that are giving our community a bad name. Come up with a better argument. If you want to defend her, defend what she did and explain why it was okay. Until you do that, you're defending her makes you look like an idiot. What's the educational purposes? How to victimize a victim's family. Yep. Keep the comments. I mean, look, if channels that do shitty things end up benefiting because people go there and comment and stuff, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, at the end of the day, people have to use their voices, you know? Like, I know there are creators back in the day when I was a mod for a creator, she refused to watch certain things because she didn't want to give that creator a view. And we'd all be like, oh, yeah, fair call. We don't want to give that person a view. And then I was like, no, knowledge is power in this community. Like, ignorance isn't bliss in this community. Knowledge is power. I don't care if I give them a click or a view or whatever. I'm not going to give them a like. It's a very small price to pay to call out this bullshit, you know? So, yeah, keep commenting, Miss K, if I were you. Who's the day drinking live streamer? Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, BHB's always got a little, motive going on there. But, scum defends scum. It's just the way it is. Zav, the community is divided about me posting gore. The division is normal, decent versus the sickos. And yeah, the sickos are a very low percentage who are going, there's nothing wrong with what she did. Absolutely. You're definitely crossing the line showing children's autopsy photos. But I'm probably one of the few people that thinks it's kind of crossing the line even showing adults ones. If you're not somehow, like, if I had a family member and I wanted to see their autopsy photos, and I don't even fucking know why I would, I'd prefer not to. Mind you, in my job, I see autopsy photos a lot. I've seen way more crime scene photos and autopsy photos than I've ever seen on YouTube or any other social media platform. I mean, I see them as part of what I do. But if I did want to and they were a family member and I accessed the files, I wouldn't be putting them out there for everyone else to comment on. No. And it's even worse that in some states in America, you can get these photos without any familial connection to that person at all and do exactly what Zav did. That is the core of this problem. It is the core. I hope some of these states realise that social media is way ahead of them and their laws aren't keeping up with it. Because I would imagine even the state where this happened, they'd be pretty appalled at what's going on. And it sounds like a lot of, mainstream American media are, well, Brian Entin, and there's been articles posted on MSN.com about it. I don't know how credible the writers of those articles are, but it's out there too. Like there are plenty of people outraged in America about this. Will this bring about some changes? Will it make states think about locking down and imposing stricter privacy laws? If it does, you little beauty. Because I don't want any of us to have to be talking about something like this happening again in 5 years' time. Some other innocent child's autopsy photos getting leaked by some dickhead on YouTube. For you, true crime equals body bags. Laura came up with some good arguments. I really want to react to her because there was one she did in a car and I'm like, oh, girl. I so want to react, but it's not the time or the place. But I might do it as a separate if we feel like we need a little laugh. One person said they were doing it as a class. What it was Zav the teacher. I asked for a syllabus and who the professor or ME was. Yeah, and apparently there was some sort of coronial commentary going on, but she talked over the top of it because, she's got more interesting things to say than a coroner. Simple money-making exercise and the exploitation of a naked dead child's body. And when you sum it up like that, Ms. K, how bad is it? It's disgusting. Yeah, and the case is over. What we needed to learn about that case, we learned about in the trial. There is a reason I'm not going live about Brian Kohberger every 5 minutes. We're going to learn all about that horrible, horrible quadruple murder when we watch the trial. That's the information we want to hear about, the evidence. Everything else, I don't care. I've contemplated going live about Kohberger because people continue to bring him up in my chat. And I thought maybe we should have a live. And I was going to do a live which was, why is Brian Kohberger's presumption of innocence missing in action? Because there are so many creators talking about him like he's already convicted. But then another part of me was like, no, October is the trial. We'll watch it and we'll talk about it. The lawyer in me, I don't want to buy into all this fluff. But I agree with you, not subject to conformity. The trial is over. The case is over. Everything you need to know about it is already out there in the trial. The trial was streamed. I mean, we don't stream trials in Australia. But if you want to hear the evidence in a trial in America, you can sit there and watch it. And you're not going to learn anything more about it outside of it. Do you think Zav Girl's qualified to explain those photos to people? Unbelievable. Yeah, Terence Kelly. You had a go at her as well. Did you get blocked as well, Miss K? I will have to have a look at your comment, Miss K. The Glera says, blessed be the clip channels. Zav Girl, best gore. She should start showing cartel videos. Well, hang on a sec. Is it not Zav who has linked the cartel to the Idaho 4 case? Or is it some other scrupulous, credible, reputable creator on YouTube? I say with a lot of sarcasm. I've got a feeling Zav is the one who has mentioned the cartel repeatedly regarding Idaho 4. Am I wrong on that? I need to get down to the bottom of chat. I need to keep up with you guys. Actually, I'm not that far down. Zav Girl, if you don't like it, step off. Me, if you can't be respectable, fuck off. Yes, yay. Yeah, it is up to it's up to us. Not just, you guys. Like if this was happening in Australia, I'd be drumming up the masses as well. We all need to get our little advocacy hats on and get amongst it. She needs assessing. I can't believe they released autopsy photos of a minor without parental consent. Yeah, and I read a couple of different states' laws on that, and there are many states in America where it does require parental consent. I don't know why that just isn't a given. Like, if at the very least, if that is legislated, that people cannot access. I mean, I personally think a blanket, you cannot access minors' autopsy photos and reports unless you do like we have to in Australia, where you have to be next of kin and you've got to provide evidence and so on. But even imposing parental consent on minors would be a good start, right? I think everyone would be devastated if she did that to anyone, because she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, if she was a coroner and she was giving a professional opinion on it and explanation in a setting where you would need to be learning about that, and a relative of mine had donated their body to science and they were the cadaver that she was talking about, no issue. None. But that's the only time. And that's not going to happen because she's not a coroner. Oh, and did you see the comment too that someone said to her, how would you feel if it was your family member? And she was like, I'd be fine with it. You wouldn't. You're a liar. You're a lying liar who lies. You are. I get studying the dynamics of a crime, but minor children's autopsies shouldn't be part of a FOIA request. Absolutely not. And the other thing is the dynamics of a crime are really interesting, and people who are really interested in that study it at institutions, universities, colleges. I'm fascinated in crime. That's why I did law. I wanted to study criminology, and I loved it. And I became a criminal lawyer. I don't go to YouTube. I go to YouTube for do-it-yourself how to release a pressure valve on my hydronic heating system. I don't go to YouTube to learn about how to analyse an autopsy. We'd already seen how little Zav knew when she looked at Kylie Rodney's autopsy. And I can't remember her coverage of Shanann Ruchek and the girls, their case, but I'm pretty sure if she went through their autopsy, she would have got so much wrong because so many people did. God, some of you have got her in a white jacket. Off she goes. Yeah, there's the cartel in Idaho 4 is that Xana Conodle's family are involved in drugs, and so it was a drug deal gone wrong, or the cartel getting revenge because her mother owed them money. Like, yeah, no, that's been floating around from this, well, not from this very start, but when Xana's mother was interviewed, it certainly escalated around that time. A dose of reality with Jen Lou. How are you? Oh, Jen. Our live that we loved so much, the verdict, the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. Joseph Morris struck me, and I had a week to take it down or fight him. And I'd had a couple of deaths in my very close circle of friends, and I wasn't in the headspace to even contemplate taking that guy on because he's so scary. I don't want his bad juju in my life. And I didn't even have time to download it because I got a countdown from YouTube. I had an hour to deal with it, and I needed to get home, and it takes me longer to get home, so I had to just delete it. It was a sad, sad day. He didn't even give me the option just to crop out the bit of his crap, and I don't even remember what part of his shit we used. It was all or nothing, and YouTube said, you've got options, or you're going to get a strike. You can dispute it, but you're going to get a strike until the strike is resolved. So down it went. All we have now are our memories. See, was Zav good in the early days? I can't imagine her being good ever. I mean, she might have had some scruples and morals in the early days. I mean, I suppose look, YouTube's a personality thing, isn't it? People like certain personalities, and that's why they keep going back to those channels. I just can't imagine her ever being good. I've never seen her being good at anything. Did any of you ever have the misfortune of seeing, I think when she was doing the Kylie Rodney thing, she played a birthday song to someone and she was bopping along thinking it was the best thing ever, and it was fucking woeful. And I was so hopeful that I was like, oh, she's going to play some music. I hope it's funky. Nah, I don't know what she's good at. She's good at being terrible. It is Jen Lu. Oh, sweet. You're like me. Well, see, I'm totally into reality shows too, but instead of reacting on YouTube, I'm a troll on Twitter. I have so much fun. I've had a blast tweeting Australian MasterChef. That's why I haven't been on YouTube much, because I'm busy tweeting. I'm busy being a troll on the tweeters. I know. How dare Joseph Morris? You're hoping. I don't know if a channel's going to get removed. I mean, it might. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an activist in that regard. I kind of feel like people put shit out there and there's going to be ramifications for their actions. And if something happens, it happens. But I'd certainly never participate in any kind of cancel culture type stuff. I know, it was true crime gold. No, Cement, I was not given that option. It had to be permanently deleted. I swear to God, Zav Girl lives in the reality of the Choose Your Own Adventure book series. Lindy Lou. Oh, you're going to do fast speed. Yeah, because I'm a bit of a am I a slow talker or a fast talker? In America, everyone was like, can you slow down? I can't understand you. Maybe I am a fast talker. Yeah, you got to have fun. That's why I like doing my cooking stuff, or just, showing off beautiful parts of Tasmania. Sarah Boone's going to be an absolute doozy. Are you doing Sarah Boone? I'll hang out with you for that because, yeah, she's a thing. The bottom line is it's so disrespectful to Gannon. And, yeah, would you know what's more disrespectful is the people that go, it's not disrespectful to Gannon. He's dead. He can't get upset or offended by this. What? Never talk ill of the dead is something I was taught as a child. Respect the dead was something I was taught as a child. I can't believe there are people on YouTube going, he doesn't know he's dead. What the hell? What the hell? That little boy was abused in life and is now being abused in death. The end. And anyone who thinks it's okay is fucked in the head. Has Sarah aged a decade at least? All right, let me read the rest of this. Yeah, that's the quote. Right, never talk ill of the dead. Yeah, nothing could be learned. And the medical examiner couldn't answer the bit about the burns. Tori, you sound great at 1.5 plus time speed. So funny to listen to your voice at that speed, like a machine gun of sailor speech. I'm putting that on my CV. I can be a potty mouth when someone's pissing me off. And Zav's pissing me off. All right, let's keep reading this bullshit. It doesn't warrant the hours I've already spent on it. Here we go. The reality of the situation is that different people feel differently about this. No, the reality of the situation is everyone feels the same way about it, except for a couple of people on YouTube that no one takes seriously, Bullhorn Betty, Life Perplexed, who for some reason have seen an opportunity to possibly build their subscriber base by attracting your subscribers, because you have got nearly 100,000, by defending you, but not yet actually providing any valid defense. Do you know what's really sexy in my opinion? What's really sexy in my opinion is people who absolutely adore someone, and Bullhorn Betty and Laura did not adore Zav before this, I might point out. But when you really adore someone and they do something shitty and you go, that was fucking shitty, that to me is sexy. It's okay to admit people are imperfect and they fuck up from time to time. What isn't sexy is defending the indefensible and not even coming with good reasons to defend it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It's in her Patreon. If you're not in her Patreon, it's none of your business. How do you think communities have evolved over the centuries, Life Perplexed? Because people have gone, we don't like this, and we might need to bring in a bit of a law to stop people doing it, because if they do it, we think they should be punished. So let's speak to our parliament and see how they feel about it. And the parliament goes, good thinking, community members. This isn't okay. Let's bring about some legislation and some penalties for people in our community who continue to do this reprehensible shit. We're all observing stuff on YouTube. We're all allowed to be outraged and talk about shit that sucks. This shit sucks. You defending it makes you sound like an idiot because it sucks. It's as simple as that. If there were 300,000 channels defending Zav and providing good reasons as to why, then I'd be like, bring on a debate, because this will be interesting, because both sides have valid points. The problem is this isn't a two-sided thing. It's essentially everyone except for a couple of people who all feel the same way about it. And the couple of people who don't, they're not defending her because they want to defend Zav because they love her. She's got a crowd. I mean, look, a percentage might have been bought, but even if half of her subscribers are, real subscribers, there's still more subscribers than either of those channels have got. I mean, Laura defending Molly made her look ridiculous. I can't believe she's defending Zav. Seriously, mate. If say Grizzly True Crime went live saying, come on, guys, I don't see anything wrong with what Zav did, then I'd be like, I think we need to have a really good conversation about this, because I know that Grizzly would have good reasons. I mean, I can't think of any. I've tried to play devil's avocado with this in my head, and this is why so many people are outraged and upset, because there isn't anything to justify it, not one thing. I can't pretend to take Zav's side, or I can't take Zav's side and pretend to be passionate about defending her when I can't even think of anything to say that might make me sound remotely intelligent. But if there were credible true crime channels all defending Zav, then Laura and Bullhorn Betty wouldn't look like such idiots. But because nobody else is except for those two, Let's just not even put them in the equation. 100% of reasonable people on YouTube thinks this is bullshit. The end. So the next step is, are you going to take accountability for it, Zav? Because trust me, the majority of us would give you credit if you did. We're not going to subscribe to you. We're not going to talk positively of you. We're going to hope you disappear into oblivion. But at the end of the day, I'll still respect you for owning your shit. But the thing is, you can't even do that. So there aren't really sides here, Zav. And it's not different people feeling differently about this. It's everyone feeling one way about it. And three of you looking like fools. And you're looking like a really fucked up, nasty piece of shit fool as well. I mean, the other two just look like idiots. Everyone's questioning your ethics and your morals. If you want to be ethical, if you want to show everyone you do have an ethical bone in your body, take responsibility for this. Admit that in hindsight, if you can, even when people do shitty things and then later on they apologize, when they're like, in hindsight, with some self-reflection, I realized I might have crossed the line, or what I did was inappropriate, or in fact, it was way more disgusting than I thought it was. And everyone goes, good on you. Still not having anything to do with you ever again because you're a fucking idiot and you're horrible. But credit where it's due. But you're standing your ground for the sake of Laura and Bullhorn Betty, because they're the only two people who don't see anything wrong with what you did. I mean, if it wasn't so horrible, this is laughable, isn't it, guys? Like, I didn't realize I hadn't been snorting and grinning on the bottom of the screen. But don't you reckon, guys, like, if the subject matter wasn't so horrible, this is insane. It's ridiculous. Who's talking peacocks? Hang on. Let me go back up. Hang on, there's a lot of chat that I'm just going to let you guys. I don't actually know that trial, Wake the Truck Up, or that case. But I don't follow cases involving kids generally. I did follow Cleo Smith, but so Texas has rules. Nobody can get those pictures. Typical a lawyer to want to have more legislation to secure their jobs. Oh, Joman. I don't really. It makes our jobs harder. We need more precedents in case law and, yeah, no. But we do need more legislation. So people, it's still unfathomable to me that Zav Girl could get her hands on that shit. Legislators really need to look at what's going on social media and catch up. Seriously. I wonder if the person who released all that stuff, I mean, she paid over $400 for it. Oh my God, two people. Everyone who keeps going, she's allowed to put it behind a paywall. She's got to get her money back somehow. Are you insane? It's a business expense. She was making $30,000 a month lying about all of Kylie Rodney's friends and accusing them of being her murderers. $30,000 a month. I think she can pay just over $400 for that shit and not charge people to look at it. You sound as stupid as those other two people do. I'm gonna put a link in. You love hearing Devil's Avocado. It's not those, Joman, because some states don't have strict laws like that. They don't have the privacy laws that prevent people like Zav Girl accessing stuff. And each state in America has its own set of laws, and they're all very different. So, yeah, it's not actually covered. They've actually got to make them tighter. They do. So that they can keep lawyers employed. Correct. You have no control. And look, I've mentioned a few times about it not being, the Dropbox not being password protected, but the reality is, even if it was, it would have got out. Like, because someone would just type in the password, looky, copy it all, boom, But it still would have been another step, and it would have shown that Zav intended to keep it as private as possible. It would have actually helped her defense a little bit more. It would have helped her defense even more if she'd vetted the photos and the video and had taken the really graphic stuff out that people hadn't seen before in the trial and so on. And I'm really sick too of the people that keep going, all the autopsy photos were shown in Gannon's trial. These were also crime scene photos, and I kept thinking, why isn't anyone mentioning this? Because why do I remember this? Because I didn't even follow Gannon's trial, other than to know that I remember hearing from many people the autopsy photos were accidentally shown to the public. And then there were other people that said it wasn't an accident, but irrespective, that was the discussion around Gannon's trial, or Letitia's trial, was that they shouldn't have been shown to the public. And normally they're not. But again, this is where streaming bugs me, because things like that can happen. And things like Judy Ron talking over court in recess and all the other YouTubers unmuting and joining in the hilarity can happen. That's why I'm not a fan of that shit. We've all seen the lawyer attending court with a filter on his face like a cat that he couldn't remove. Technology and lawyers don't always go hand in hand. Or court staff, for that matter. I agree so much. If she had owned it, then different conversation. You told her to take ownership. Cool. Who are you blocking? Did you block someone? Who did you block? That's what I know. I agree. I think she's always been this way. Oh, it's a death penalty one that Grizzly's covering. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I haven't finished the letter. Yeah, the genitalia thing. Look, I've heard people who actually went behind the paywall and paid and had a look at it, saying that genitalia were definitely visible. And there's actual screenshots of people referring to his genitalia. So why would there have been people saying things about his genitals if they weren't visible? But I'm not going to look at it to verify it. I don't need to. But even so, she's missing the point. So let me just quickly read through this, because I do want to, I have a bit to say. I'll just get me off the screen again. And then I might just open up the panel for some chat. So we'll just go through this. Some people genuinely think making a video, including the autopsy photos, is bad. Yep. And I respect their opinion and feelings. Well, you don't, because you haven't owned your shit. Other people like myself think of autopsy photos and the coroner explaining them as interesting. I wouldn't disagree with that either. I think many people do. Again, not the point. Interesting and informative, and are able to view it in a more scientific, detached way. It's just one of those things where it depends on the person. The thing is that there's nothing actually wrong with what you just said there. That's true. But this isn't the point. The point is you bought graphic crime scene photos and autopsy photos of a minor and made them accessible to people, and they got leaked, and you showed things that weren't shown in court. There's mountains of people who find looking at autopsy photos and crime scene photos fascinating. That doesn't justify what you did. What you did was shitty. I am not adamantly against taking down the video if people are truly unhappy with it. Well, you can't now because your Patreon's gone. And I absolutely consider doing that. Again, you don't need to. She gone. But right now it seems there are a lot of other people who are acting in bad faith and creating lies for fun and excitement in order to pit others against me. Oh, Okay, so I don't know every single person who's commented on you. So far, everyone I've listened to has pretty similar views to mine. And I don't recall any of those creators. And some of them are massive and some of them are tiny like me. And there's plenty in the middle as well. I don't remember any of us describing covering this as fun or exciting. And as for creating lies, I'm only reporting on what I've seen verified. And I don't think you need to actually, well, I'll retract that. I think a lot of people do need to. I think Laura needed to know the full story before she started defending you, because she didn't seem to know about the crime scene stuff, the suitcase photos, Gannon in the suitcase, outside it. She didn't seem to know about you comparing Gannon alive to Gannon decomposing either. But I've seen screenshots of people talking about his penis from your Patreon. So why would they have said that? Now I've just thought, why one of the comments, if you'd blurred it in a particular way, it might have warranted one of the comments, but it still didn't warrant the chuckle at the end of that comment. Anyway, let's keep going. If you've heard the latest rumour that I've been distributing photos of Gannon's genitalia, I assure you I have not. And his genitalia isn't visible in any of the autopsy photos in the autopsy coroner video. Well, see, that's interesting because Natasha Cooper claims she actually cropped out his genitalia in photos. Like, she didn't show anything below the waist because there was visible genitalia. So when Mummy Ramblings accused her of showing genitalia, she was very quick to say, absolutely not. I cropped everything from the waist down. So who's telling the truth here? Because Natasha's on blast as well. And she said she cropped the photos so people specifically couldn't see the genitalia in the photos. I can't believe I'm using Natasha Cooper to defend the masses. So it's a bit difficult to sort through what's what. Everything's always so difficult for you. You do the most reprehensible shit and people call you out on it, and then it's all too hard. Like when I said to you, take that photo of that innocent man down. Oh, well, it's in the media. The media are being sued for doing that. You might want to take it down. No, well, I'm just sharing the photo. Yeah, and meanwhile in your chat, people are saying unbelievably racist things about that innocent man, and you don't give a fuck about that. And then she ignored me, and I got timed out. I mean, I didn't even say fuck. I was polite in Zav's chat. When there are other creators who have the same autopsy photos right up here on YouTube for public viewing on their channel, they streamed the trial and they were shown during the trial. It's very different to what you did. You paid for those photos. You made your own little wackadoo video of it. You speak over the top of the coroner. And according to the screenshots, people could see his genitals. It's two different things. I honestly think she's intelligent and pretending to be oblivious. I don't think she's inept, because this is all she's covering. And it goes on and on and on, where anyone can stumble across them. They're not being attacked as I am right now. Calling out you being a reprehensible piece of shit is not attacking you. Google what the fuck attack means. People are angry because you are re-victimizing a family who have lost an 11-year-old family member in the most brutal and horrific way, and you show absolutely no regard for that whatsoever. I've heard people being incredibly mindful of the wording that they've used. I've heard people being unbelievably intelligent in the way they're discussing this. I've heard people quoting cases where families have been traumatized for years because their family members' autopsy photos got out. None of those people are attacking you, Zav. They're really pissed off. about what you've done, and they're being a lot politer about it than I am. It becomes obvious that some of this hate I'm receiving is not genuine and is being done for other reasons. YouTube drama gets clicks. Okay, why is it whenever anyone on YouTube is negative or critical and is entitled to feel that way, they're instantly accused of being a hater and hating and giving hate? Does everyone get exhausted by that? I am polite wherever I go, but on my own channel, I can be a little bit filthy. The narrative Zav tries to make up in this community post is a sign she's not stupid, yes, and creates a narrative to fool the gullible. I agree, Joman. Question is if she fools herself too. I believe she does believe her own bullshit, yes. Oh, sweet. Thanks, Melmac. We're going to watch that. I'm just going to end with this because you guys can go to her community page and read this shit. It doesn't warrant any more attention. But just in this last little bit that I've still got highlighted, the hate that she's receiving isn't genuine and it's being done for other reasons. YouTube drama gets clicks. This isn't drama. This is a community standing up and saying enough is enough. This is bullshit. You have gone too far. That's all it is. Well, it's not all it is. I mean, it's massive. You know about YouTube drama getting clicks because your entire coverage of Kylie Rodney was bullshit, manufactured drama. And you learned very quickly how much money you could make from twisting everything in a case to end up earning 30 grand a month. So, yeah, you are speaking from your own experience. But what are the other reasons? Because I haven't gained one subscriber covering the shit you did, and I'm not monetized. So what might be my reason for speaking up about this? I can tell you right now, I don't hate you. I don't hate anyone. And I said this yesterday in my live. The only thing I hate is the word hate. But I'm disgusted at what you did. Absolutely disgusted. And my feelings of you being disgusting are genuine. And there are no other reasons for me to speaking up about this except that I think it might help in making this a better place to be. Looking after our community and making it better. Because do we all want to spend years of our life in a community that never gets better? Because at the moment, if I look back on the 5 years I've been here, it's just gotten worse and worse. And you've hit a new low, Zav. There's no drama in me talking about this at all. I care about this community. I love my community so much. I would way prefer to have my tiny little community than your 100,000 voyeuristic gore crow subs any day. I hang out with the creme de la creme of YouTube. I wouldn't change it for a thing. So what are my reasons, Zav? Preach, Tori. We're going to church. All right. Let's get the fuck off Zav's page. Oh, wait. I want to read Miss K's comment. Hang on. 1.6K comments. And she's probably taken most of the really critical ones down, right? Was this where you commented, Miss K? If BHB defends you, that's the number one sign you're wrong. Maybe you commented somewhere else. And yeah, people have left. There's really negative comments still up there, which is so unusual for her. She got people swooping in her comments. I agree. I think we all would. We'd all rather be poor and have a moral compass than wealthy and unethical. All right, let's get News Nation up. I can't believe I'm about to play News Nation. But I am. But look, it's Brian. It's Brian Entin, Bullhorn's best mate. I reckon Bullhorn Betty's gonna. I'm not even subscribed to it. I can't stand Ashley. What she's done with Idaho 4 is on a par with what Zav Girl's done with Gannon, in my view. All right. What am I looking for? Videos. That dear little boy. What he went through is unimaginable. And now what he's been put through in death. All right, so we're on News Nation. Are they going to strike me? You'd rather be rich with a Moroccan. Well, yeah, good point too, German. News Nation is starting to get all the CNN. Well, all the are they CNN rejects? Because isn't CNN just like dead in the water? Like, are they actually rejects, or are they just people who need jobs? Are they just the unemployed? BHB, I know. She helped launch Brian Entin's career. They all see her coming, I'm sure, and they're like, oh, no. But I did love her claiming to have been, you know, she made people listen and pay attention to poor Brian. Nobody would listen to Brian until she came along. Oh, my God, I nearly wet my pants. Do you reckon I'll be okay? And then after this, I'm going to open up my panel because I think some of you guys might have things you want to say too, because I don't really think there's much more I need to. But let's see what the coverage is like. YouTuber charged $3 to see gruesome autopsy photos of 11-year-old boy. Now, you know how they say all publicity is good publicity? Every rule, in my view, has an exception. I don't think that headline is good publicity ever, or bad. Like, what is it? All publicity is good publicity? Yeah. Mud sticks. I don't know. It's icky. I wonder if Zav's going to do a reaction to it. Anyway, let's go.
Released the photos to her. She had to pay. They released the photos and she got them. And you can just imagine, based on the description of the way that little boy was killed, what those photos looked like. Zav Girl then proceeded to post them on her Patreon account, which is an account attached to her YouTube page. And she charged her followers money to see the autopsy photos. For $3, you could see little Gannon's body. She was making money off of that little boy's autopsy photos of a severely beaten to death little boy. Really, they just got no place on the internet. It was hard enough for the jury to have to look at them. But for this YouTuber to go to all that trouble to request them, to pay the money, to get them from the government, and not only post them, but then to charge people to see them. I mean, I just find it sick. I question, you know, has Zav Girl ever even been in a courtroom or
just stopping you there because I have to for fair use, Brian. But how's Zav Girl going to defend herself against this, right? I mean, the MSN articles that I saw, you know, they didn't look overly credible, like whatever publications they were in and stuff. And one of them was basically a copy paste of the other one. But now you've got a channel that covers true crime, calling you sick. Are you going to call Brian Entin a hater? And I don't know, what is News Nation's audience like? I mean, she is going to get attacked. There's no denying it. I don't think she's being attacked at the moment by anyone. I think we're all just horrified and we want to talk about it. But don't underestimate mainstream media, or don't underestimate your average, you know, Ma and Pa of America watching this, going to the effort to go to YouTube's to find this horrible woman to attack her. Like, it's going to happen, isn't it? Well, she's on vacation, which, I mean, even that's disgusting too. Like, and then what the bullshit that she wrote, look, I'll take the video down if you think I need to, but I don't think I need to. Well, your Patreon's gone. Happy vacation. Yeah, I didn't have time to look into that particular area of legislation in America, but I have heard someone with a law degree, I think it might have been Mystery Maven, or read a comment in a chat that whatever the laws are regarding minors and naked photos and so on doesn't apply, but I can't remember the comment and I didn't research it. It's still fucked either way. And that's exactly how his family want him remembered. And they put a post up on Facebook back in April when the trial was happening, the day of the autopsy photos. Gannon's mum wasn't in court that day. She couldn't, well, she might have been in for some of the day, but she left the court when the autopsy photos were being shown, and she put a post saying, we want to remember our little boy as a fun, beautiful, sweet, caring kid he was. Ma and Pa America. He is. He's being abused after death. Yep. I agree. But yeah, is Brian Entin a hater? Is he attacking you, Zav? You really should spend a bit of time self-reflecting, suck it up, admit you fucked up, and move on. Like I said, I'm not going to subscribe to you if you do that. But at least I won't think you're as big of a piece of shit as I do right now. And that's something, right? And I don't think I'm the only one who would feel that way. All right, let's go.
Interviewed a grieving family. That's my issue with some of these YouTubers that cause problems. They hide behind their computers. They don't even use their real names. Like in this case, we don't even know who Zav Girl really is. And if you're so proud of your page, I don't know why people don't just use their real name. And this.
Well, that's, I mean, my channel was my real name when I came to YouTube's. And then, because it was a comedy-based channel and I'm a comedian and I use my real name. But I don't think Brian's up to speed on the doxing. And your best mate, Bullhorn Betty, that's not her name either. I mean, that's just the way YouTube is. Not many people use their real names anymore because there's really shitty people on YouTube, like you're talking about right now. But there's other shitty people that take people's real names and do awful things with it. I don't have an issue with that. And at least she cams up. She's not hiding behind an avatar. So I'm not sure about that one, Brian. But anyway, I'll let you talk, man. I'll let you talk.
This isn't some video game or TV show you're playing on your computer. You know, this is a real family's life.
Correct.
This morning, Zav Girl, she got a lot of heat for this. She posted a statement on her YouTube page about the controversy. It was deleted. It's back up now. I screen grabbed it. This is part of it. She wrote, the reality of the situation is that different people feel differently about this. Some people are genuinely think making a video, including the autopsy photos, is bad, and I respect their opinion and feelings. Other people like myself think of autopsy photos and the coroner discussing, explaining, interesting, and informative, are all able to view it in a more scientific, detached way. Well, Zav Girl, there is nothing detached about posting the autopsy photos of an 11-year-old little boy, and then on top of it, which I really think pushes it over the line, charging money for people to see them. It is sick, it's deranged, and you should just own up to it. Whoever you are, wherever you live, maybe get out from behind your computer.
Brian's been listening to my live. He was listening to me. Tori's speaking the truth here. No, everyone thinks the same way about this. That's why this is being talked about by so many people, and everyone needs to keep talking about it. Let's make our community great again. I can't believe I just said that.
Computer screen, go to the local courthouse and actually sit through a murder trial and see what it's like for the families in real life, not on YouTube, not sitting behind your computer and thinking about clicks, but actually go to the courthouse and see what these families actually have to deal with, and then think about how it might feel for them after having to see those photos in the courtroom to then have them plastered all over the internet and then be trying to charge people money to view them so you can get rich off of it.
And I agree with all of that too, but I just want to also add to that. Well, we just mentioned too that Gannon's mum couldn't even be in the courtroom when they showed them. But I also want to mention that the people who continue to say what happened with the whole Judy Ron unmuted microphone stuff and saying it was hilarious and all the rest of it, I'm sorry, but I feel the same way about that. Exactly what Brian just said. And I've talked about that on my channel before, like the amount of emotional pressure that families are already under and defendants are under and even lawyers and judges. Like, it's an intense workspace. And what happened that day with Judy Ron irritated the fuck out of me, that people still think that was funny and harmless, because it wasn't. So many people were affected that day. The entire list that day in that courtroom was cleared. And the guts it takes for people to even rock up to court for stuff, even on a day where it's a simple little procedural hearing where it might be listing matters for trial, or, I mean, arraignments are really intense. So many people, the anxiety that they were already feeling to get there and then have the whole thing pulled because of YouTubers, that was fucked up. And I'm never going to agree with anyone on YouTube that that was funny and harmless. It wasn't. It was fucked up. Hey, Bristol. All right, back to Brian.
It's just awful. I want to bring in District Attorney Michael Allen, who served as the lead prosecutor on Little Gannon's case. Thank you for being with us, Michael.
Oh,
you were the lead prosecutor. Good. You had to go through that whole trial. I can't even imagine, like, this just got me so mad thinking about Gannon's family. I know they're aware of this. I mean, how are they processing all of this?
Well, thanks for having me on to talk about this. First off, we reached out to the family members and had discussions with them about this, just letting them know that, one, it's happening and sort of what they can do potentially to combat this. But honestly, there's nothing they can do to get these photos down once they're on the internet. It's just completely disrespectful to the family members that have had to live through this horror. But even more so, I mean, Gannon deserves so much more in life from his stepmother, and he certainly deserves dignity and respect in death. And there's nothing about what this YouTuber is doing, and I think there's another one out there as well that they're doing that provides any dignity or respect to Gannon. And the statement that they put out about this incident, sort of justifying it, it just rings hollow. Other ways to do this. Scientifically, they could have used body diagrams that the autopsy also included, instead of putting the actual pictures of Gannon's just completely broken body that reflects the depravity and horror that he had to live through and die at the hands of his stepmother, that he had to suffer. It's outright disgusting, and it just speaks to the lowest of human forms, in my opinion.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click.
Thank you, Dan Abrams, whoever the hell you are. So there you have it. Great to see you, Janie to Justice. I tried to send a comment to send, and it told me I have no internet connection, but I'm still live. All right, Ski. I'm putting in my link. But just so you know, anyone who takes it, unlike a lot of people on YouTube, I really need to go to the loo. So if someone like Jen Lou wants to grab the link, who's happy to kind of, hold the fort just while I go to the loo, that would be awesome. But I agree, Joman, that's the easiest way to answer a moral question. Is this something I'd want others to do to me? Yep. But yeah, is Zav going to call Brian Entin a hater now as well? Peeps are peeved. Here's the beautiful Jen Lou.
Hello.
Hello, gorgeous.
How are you?
It's been a long time.
I know.
Oh, I've got all the gorgies coming up. Here's beautiful Humanimal as well.
Hi, Humanimal.
Hello. Oh,
how are you, exquisite girls?
Yes, I'm Jen Lou, and it's me. Yes, I don't have a lot to say, but I did have a couple of things to say.
Do you want to wait for me to go to the loo? You guys can just chat about the Brian Entin thing, maybe. I'm going to unplug my headphones so I can hear, but I'm also going to mute me so you guys can't hear me. But yeah, I'm one of those YouTubers that has a bladder that gets full because I drink a lot of water. And if I don't go to the loo, it's gonna get very wet in here.
We call that a Woolworths bladder down under.
A Woolworths bladder.
Yeah.
Good night, beautiful Emily.
Bladder,
Thank you.
Woolworths.
We should be saying like the reject shop. All right. Bye, beautiful Emily. We love you. All right, I will be back shortly. But yeah, how do you girls feel about Brian Entin covering this? Like, this isn't something Zav can just brush off now, is it?
That's really saying something, isn't it? If it's up to News Nation as the representative for mainstream media to step in and actually take a moralistic view on something that is out in media, especially social media. It's bizarro, but it's absolutely great. And of course, it was Brian Entin and not what's the hoo-hoo. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Can you imagine if it was what's her name?
Bam Banfield, right?
Yeah,
like, bam,
yeah.
Bam.
Can you
Where's the little
imagine
camera?
though? Can you imagine though if this were her, if she were reporting on this, how it would be?
I think, I think she knows. She has a lot more self-awareness than maybe we think, and perhaps she's kind of a parallel person to someone like Zav Girl. Having that true self-awareness, but going along, minimizing responsibility, and playing that, hey, I'm just doing a job here. She knows she's just as sensationalistic. So
Yeah,
maybe she thinks that
is.
would be step over that line of hypocritical.
Oh. Yeah, it would not have gone over well because let's be honest, mainstream media has been highly critical of the social media element covering true crime. And we were just starting to make a little headway there.
Yes.
And then this happened. And what I can say about it is, first of all, I covered the trial every day with another girl, Alex Erickson. We did it together.
She's fabulous. Yeah.
Yes, I love her. And I remember very distinctly the day that the pictures were accidentally shown. And let me assure you, for as far as WebEx goes, I don't know what their policies are, but Law and Crime, which is where I streamed from, was absolutely, they're very, very careful about that. And what happened was, as soon as it went out, Law and Crime then adjusted the way that they were streaming the WebEx. So they adjusted the window so that you could only see the medical examiner in the very bottom of the TV screen. And I was shocked when they were shown. And I will say one thing about this that's been good is I had intended to go back that night and take the live and blur it out. And I had forgotten to do that. And it was brought up, these were shown in court. So I went back to see what exactly was shown in court. And I know that whatever was, because I didn't look in any of the pictures, but what I will say is this. It's pretty standard operating procedure before a trial begins that the judge, the prosecution, and the defense goes over the exhibits, particularly crime scene and autopsy photos, and they decide what would be too inflammatory for the jury to see. So I guarantee you that not all of the crime scene nor autopsy pictures were shown. Only the ones that the judge, the district attorneys, and the defense felt had actual probative value. And I think, so I can say that no, not all of them were shown, because that would be impossible. Let's see, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, I'm very curious as how all this is going to play out legally, okay? Because Florida, which is where the autopsy was actually performed, and they're the ones that took the autopsy photographs and the crime scene photographs, those ones. They have, listen, Florida is, we be doing some crazy stuff. Well, not really me. I just live here, but I'm not from here, so it's different. But, I know how Florida can be. And they do have a somewhat liberal Freedom of Information Act on some things, right? Like I can go and look up Sarah Boone and I can find her divorce. I can find the DVs that she had prior, all that stuff, right? But there's stuff that I can't find and they won't release. And a child's autopsy photographs are one of those things. So when district attorney said it came from Florida, that's not correct. Also, I know the procedure for requesting these materials in this specific case, and I know what the correspondence is and all of that. From it is what it is. So, because a friend of mine and I were going to look into getting some of the stuff. Mainly what we really wanted is the interviews between Dr. Lewis and Leticia. That's what I wanted to hear, because we only got to hear clips of those. And Dr. Lewis was just so sure that Leticia suffered from dissociative identity disorder. I wanted to see for myself. What did she see that we missed? Because the defense is not the one that played those tapes. The prosecutor did. And they were only excerpts. So I wanted to see those. So I'm familiar with the process. And it came from Colorado. It did not come from Florida. And there is something that they can do. There's been other tragedies involving children where the pictures were distributed online and the families fought to have those pictures copyrighted. They can't ever be removed once it's out on the internet. It's out on the internet, but they can't be shared.
Yeah, they can go after whoever shares. And that, just while we're talking about this aspect of it, firstly, the legal side of it, where does the blame lie? Like, it might even not be Zav who's sued. It might be whoever released it. But the other thing I wanted to mention while we were chatting about it is those who are defending Zav, all two of them, they do keep mentioning things, including her, about it was all shown in court. That's what happens in court when a crime is being... They
weren't.
No, well, they were shown accidentally, but my point is that people...
but I mean, even they didn't show all of them. But they didn't, because some of them were like highly sensitive and inflammatory, and they weren't actually admitted. So that argument is caca too.
It is caca too, but it's also caca because there's a big difference between even the limited photos that were shown in Letitia's trial. There's a big difference between that going on in a forum where juries get to see photos. Like in Australia, we don't stream, so there's never any accidental showing of photos. But that is the forum where autopsy photos are discussed. It's part of a trial. Very different to some fuckwit member of the public charging people who anyone's got $3. I mean, we're all broke at the moment, but everyone's got $3 to pop in and see that and then send it out wherever they want. And so for Zav to be saying it's no different to what people have got on their YouTube channels, it's incredibly different. Firstly, like you're saying, Jen, not everything was shown during the trial. Secondly, you can't compare the two. They're apples and oranges. They're totally different. Like, it's no different to if she had accessed someone having open heart surgery and put it out there and said, well, it's no difference. People could have watched the surgery happening in the surgery room. There's a huge difference in a surgery, like in an operating theatre. That's what happens. You're just a dickhead on YouTube getting your hands on graphic info because you're a voyeur and sharing it with your like-minded weirdos.
Well, I think for me, this was really my issue about it. First of all, it's a child.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, extra care, extra sensitivity should be taken. This is and he died at the hands of somebody he trusted and loved. And it was a brutal death. And
he's further brutalized now, isn't he? Thanks, Dad.
Right. I think, I was telling Humanimal, we were talking about Alex Erickson and I covered the trial. And I remember distinctly and it happened too with when Adam Montgomery's probable cause or arrest affidavit was unsealed recently after his weapons trial was over, and we read it out. And there is, and we talked about this, and I said, it's hard for us to hear, but imagine being these children and having to go through it. That's very different than seeing it. And the problem is, in my estimation, is putting it behind a paywall is one as a measure to keep people from looking at it. The thing is, you don't have any control, because whoever you Patreon, you can, make it where only there's so many patrons allowed at a specific level, but it's not like you can screen the people that are your patrons. Or your patrons, I should say.
No.
So you have no idea what's going to happen, what they're going to do with the information. And so for me, that is why I wouldn't do it at all, period, for any autopsy. Particularly a child, and I don't know if people are aware of this, and I wasn't always, but I learned about it, with the West Memphis 3 case. There are people who enjoy, particularly children, in that state. And it's disgusting, it's depraved. And I'm not saying that is what any of that happened, but why take the chance? You never, that's the problem.
Exactly.
It's no different, really, Tori, than me and you going live, right? We know who's watching somewhat because they're chatting, but that not everybody who watches while you're live chat. So you have silent watchers, and then you have the people who watch after the live has ended. So I always take additional. That's why I don't turn my camera on. You never know what is showing in your background, how very briefly it could be that could lead back to you. You know what I'm saying? And this is my sanctuary. This is my home.
I don't mind if people are into sleeping cat photos. Take one right now. But
She's
what
adorable.
I was going to
Sorry.
say too, shit, Sunny is beautiful.
No,
correct me if I'm wrong. But sorry, Humanimal, I just want to get this point because I remembered it before. Didn't the judge lose his shit in the Alec Murdoch trial because someone in the courtroom leaked a photo of Maggie's autopsy from the courtroom?
Yes.
That trial was this year. Like, that only happened a little while ago. Did Zav follow that trial? I don't know. But it's a topic that comes up all the time. And there's a lot of different families. I remember reading a story. I think it was a woman called Brenda Walsh, and her child was killed in a car accident and all the photos got out. And there was this is back in, I don't know, maybe 2010 or something, but there were heaps of articles about it, and it constantly said in all of them, it's, constitutional right for a parent to refuse for autopsy photos to be released. Why isn't this happening once they're out there again? And I think with Brenda Walsh, they actually went after the people who released the autopsy photos to members of the public. I don't think the members of the Zav girls in that scenario weren't the ones that were sued. I think it was the cops, from memory.
So, okay, this is why I'm curious about this.
Or it's not. So,
Oh no, sorry, Humanimal.
Well, okay, so you know, Tori's brought up some good points here from her point of view, and I sort of promoted this a bit on my spot and everything, just and to other people saying, look, you know, isn't a valid viewpoint the very fact that people can have this available to them, whether or not they'll do something with it or not. And, you know, so there's a couple of issues there. There's the ethical issue, moral issue, and then there's the, well, you know, what is society's rights generally to privacy and to protection? You know, how did America end up in the position it is in, where this situation can arise in the first instance?
Yeah.
Well,
And
It's
how do
an
you
issue.
fix that? Because,
Well,
Hopefully
you know,
this will
as
bring
long
about
as
some
things are
changes.
available, people will do something with it. And as you say, I don't mind giving someone a view either, Tori, because, yeah, damn right, I'm going to watch you and then I'm going to give them a slam. And what actually happens is you have people coming on going, hey, preach, righteous, right on. Oh, thank God someone's saying it. Oh, I agree too. And you start connecting those little groups of people into one. They don't realize how much voice they've got. They don't realize that actually there's a lot of people that feel the same way about ethics and have the same moral positions on things because of that big loud crowd, like Zav Girl's crowd, you know. But there's a lot of people turning on her. Yeah. But yeah, how do you, you know, it's tricky. You've got 50 whatever states, I don't even know, 52, and
No.
everyone's got different legislation and different laws, and it just seems crazy that one state can, and any old person, if they've got $200, can get hold of pictures of a dead boy.
yeah.
That's the problem. It's the root problem, because humanity is so broad, you know. Yeah.
I'm
That's an
kind of
interesting
thinking,
comment from the Journey to Justice, Jen Lou. I'll highlight
what's
it.
that?
It starts with the judge. In this case, he should have sealed the photos.
Okay, so that is correct. However, the judge can't just do it. It's got to be something that both parties agree on. They usually the judge, the defense, and the district attorney. This is what happened in the Watts case. That's why we only have part of the discovery, because they went through and they went through all of it, right? And they decided what was in the public's best interest and what was not. There was legislation in 2018 in Colorado to make it automatic in cases where the death involves a minor. That no matter what, under no circumstances, unless the parents, there's provisions. It's not an absolute no, but it would preclude your average citizen from being able to get these types of photographs. And the governor vetoed it, and his or her, I can't think it's his reasoning behind it. I don't live in Colorado, so I don't know all the people, but his reasoning, I'm pretty sure it was a he. His reasoning anyway was that there are cases that involve children that shouldn't be swept under the rug, and that basically they need to be looked at to see what can be done to prevent these kinds of things reoccurring. And I think what he was really referring to is more circumstances sort of like Harmony Montgomery, where you have a child, bless her sweet little heart, who had been in the system in CPS and then foster care for like 4 years, you know, off and on. And she just fell through the cracks. I mean, the poor child was actually missing for 2 years before anybody noticed. So
her mother noticed.
Her mom noticed. That's true. You're right. Her mom noticed.
And so sure, it could be up to government agencies, but let's face it, in Australia, ScoMo managed to take out human from human resources. It's just Department of Services or something now, right? There's no human about it. But, you know, we don't need to leave it up to governments as such. We need to leave it up to the family unit, the nuclear family, the core family. We've got damaged people raising damaged people, raising damaged people. Harmony Montgomery's natural mother couldn't give a toss that she wasn't getting her daughter back for 2 years. She wasn't really curious about it at all. That's the problem, right? You know, everything else should be just there for the people that really need it. Because there's, you know, it's just, it feels like we're becoming, sorry, but it feels like we're becoming a society that says, oh, whatever little boo-boo we've got, you know, we've got to try and solve everything because, hey, society is just screwed. We are ruinous, horrible situations anywhere. No one can cope with anything. And, you know, what is CPS doing? What's this government agency doing? They should be there as a, you know, a final resort for those truly lost souls and really vulnerable people. It seems these days anyone can become vulnerable, you know. Someone in, you know, you look at the Madeleine McCann, the neglect there, and a John Benet Ramsey. They don't need CPS. They just need parents that won't neglect them. And that's where I see these root causes. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's really interesting, Humana, because this whole thing is just inspiring so many different discussions. And I mean, just a couple of things that we've just touched on as well. And I agree exactly what you've just said too, Humanimal, but also the discussion just before about the Chris Watts case, because of what has happened with Zav putting Gannon's photos behind a paywall, it has made me feel physically sick imagining if anyone ever had accessed the autopsy photos of Bella and Cece. Like, that's actually been haunting me so much. But then there's also another thing that we were sort of touching on a little bit about the public interest comments by the judge in Colorado. There's been quite a lot of cases. In fact, there was one that I studied a long time ago, which was a New Zealand case, Humanimal. It was a child called, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think the name's Nagati Kora or something like that. And the autopsy photos were released and under a lot of controversy and a lot of discussion as well. But the judge deliberately made an order to make them public because the photos showed an abused child, and they weren't the graphic sort of photos you would expect. They were very subtle things that were found on this poor baby's body. And the judge said, I need to release this because the public needs to know what to be looking out for.
But
and
that's education, not voyeurism.
Yeah. So there's, you know, on a case-by-case basis, but even in that instance, a lot of people were very vocal and appalled about it. You know, how could you release these photos? They were very tastefully done. But the interesting thing was there was a huge spike in people, including in particular schools, reporting children they thought were being abused because they were able to recognise.
So and I think that was
have a good
and I think that's what the sentiment behind why the governor vetoed it. He didn't want this sweeping, absolutely under no circumstances. But then what ends up happening is we have and I also am sort of curious because I remember I watched it when it happened when Mike Allen said they came from Florida because Florida has laws about that. And I'm wondering if that wasn't an issue that sort of fell through the cracks, meaning perhaps
or something, or
well, like, okay, so in Florida, you would not be able to have access to a child's autopsy photos, and very rarely other crime scene photos and autopsies, even in adults. They have laws about that. They've passed laws. After I think Dale Earnhardt when he was in that crash. But anyway, I'm wondering if maybe the prosecutor in this case and the judge thought that because the photographs actually came from Florida, that's who performed the autopsy because that's where his little body was found. If they're not the ones who have jurisdiction over the photographs, and therefore they didn't need to take the additional time in the court and have these records, have these photos and stuff sealed. I'm wondering if that's not the deal. I don't know, like, as far as
a bit of debriefing between
well, yeah. Well, yeah.
At the end of a trial, especially a big one like that, you'd think there'd be a little bit of a, like, let's do a little bit of a sign off here. I mean,
I'm
something like that is just so unprofessional, though.
Well, I don't know because it struck me odd because Mike Allen was the prosecutor and he's the one that was on Brian Entin's tonight. And it's not in that clip. I would imagine this is what News Nation does. They'll start uploading. They're going to break this segment down into like 6 different, 4-minute clips or whatever. But eventually that clip is going to be aired. And I'm very curious about that because the feds were involved in Gannon's case because it crossed so many state lines.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised, although they don't often get involved in homicide cases. I mean, sometimes they do, but I was shocked that the feds didn't get her because she traveled over state lines with a body, which is also against, she broke like 11 billion different laws.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember I tuned in. I was listening to you once driving home at night, and I was like, God, I wish the time zones weren't so terrible because I would have loved to have been able to join in on some of it. I mean, I did pop in on a couple of times and just said hi, but it was rare that I got to.
I know.
You guys, your coverage, you and Alex did such a good job with that trial.
Thank you. It means a lot when I hear stuff like that because covering children cases is particularly difficult for me. It's very difficult for me I can remove my emotions and get real like Sheldon-like and just speak in facts, very little emotion. But when it's children, it's very difficult. And there was something very, for me personally, captivating about Gannon. Like when I see the pictures of him, he's just one of those people. You know how everybody has a light, right? But there are some people's lights who just shine a little bit brighter. And Gannon was one of those people. And I just feel like the whole world got robbed when she did what she did.
Yeah, because he wasn't even meant to survive. Like this was a miracle child, like truly a miracle baby.
Yeah,
so
that's what's extra putrid about it is that, premature boy that as a little baby had such a will to live, had already been through so much in 11 years, not being able to be brought up with his mom and being moved around the country, recalibrating his life, and then, living with a woman such as Letitia, who favoured but didn't favour her own daughter, if you know what I mean, because privileges were earned, right, But what a, hard little life that he had, and, missing his dad quite a lot, no doubt, and he would have felt quite lonely, I think.
You've hit the nail on the head there too, Humana. Well, and this is why I get so upset, and I'm getting upset now, is her clinical approach to this and saying it wouldn't bother her if it was her own kid and stuff is, how are there so many people on YouTube that are so disconnected for thinking, and this is something we always talk about on this channel, is you shouldn't cover these cases if you can disconnect from the family and the victims. Like they should be the first thing you're thinking of when you do this stuff. And if I hear one more idiot saying don't get emotionally attached to cases, I'm not emotionally attached to the victims per se in terms of it's affecting my life and so on, but I'm attached to them emotionally in terms of holding them in the highest regard imaginable, being as respectful as possible while I'm covering cases. And I can't stand that there's this sort of limited thought processes of all the critics that we're all emotionally attached and so on. Because for me, I don't know how people can't have the victims and the people who knew and loved them first and foremost in their minds every day when they're talking about this stuff on YouTube. If I was in court as a criminal,
yeah.
I was going to say,
that's what spurs us on to keep talking about it, thinking about the human side of it. It's
and that's the platform. Sorry, I'm all passionate about this because that's the beauty of this platform is it lets us show our humanity. Whereas in my professional job as a lawyer and back when I was a criminal lawyer, no, I couldn't. I mean, I did cry in court. We often cried in court with stuff, but no, I didn't let emotion just dictate everything that I was doing there. I was a professional. I did my job just like a first responder does. But where YouTube is so amazing, in my view, is it's the humanity that makes us all connect. So for me, the fact that there are people that have absolutely no empathy or compassion or heart are often channels. I mean, the fact that Zav's even close to 100,000 subscribers, irrespective of whether
boundaries, and how Zav built her channel, right, is by being, oh no, guys, just let them comment. You know, she has given, she's given her comment section over to people that do get short shrift elsewhere, right? So she lets them just say outrageous things. She lets all sorts of things go on because she hasn't wanted to turn anybody away, because it's a very focused job that she's given herself to build her business. She has zero boundaries, and she's shown her true colors quite a few times. And yeah, definitely by having people continually on, like Jim Terry, the PI.
I heard he'd gone from YouTube Humanimal. You're on the pulse with everything YouTube. Is he no longer?
Right? But, with the Dylan Rounds situation, right? Finally, they're finally changing Brennan. No surprise there. But the people that she keeps having on, even though they're complete muppets, Ryan Upchurch, right? Because she knows it's the TV.
Jared Lysak.
AWP, right? And guess what vernacular she brings in? You remember Xana May? Okay, so
yes.
Xana May who canoed, and everyone's saying
yep.
She canoed over the body, and she dove down, and she planted the phone. She did this and that. Oh, give me a freaking break. But do you know what she was referring to her as? Herpy lip, because someone was calling Xana May herpy lip. That was what Ryan Upchurch, and that would come out of Tiffany's mouth. She is.
Oh, we've lost Jen. I forgot. I keep forgetting Zav's name is Tiffany. Is she the most least Tiffany of all time? One thing I was going to ask you, Humana, what you were just saying then too. How is it possible that just on her channel alone, there's nearly 100,000 people that are lacking any empathy, compassion as well, and think that she's worth watching? This is the thing that really bugs me.
It's a small job. Think about the 6 million people that might be on another channel that is complete tripe. Think about the people on.
Well, I do. I'm thinking of. I'm not just. It's not just Zav. It's all of
100,000 is such a drop. True crime tracks everything.
It's still 100,000 though. I live on an island that has 500,000 people living on it. It's a fifth of where I live. You know what I'm saying? Like, even a channel like Zav, if she had 30 people, I'd be tuning into every live. I'd be like, how is there 30 people that want to listen to this shit?
Yeah.
That's another thing. It just, I mean, I know there's something for everyone on the YouTubes. Come back, Jen Lou. Where'd you go? But that's another thing too. It's just the fact that these channels will do stuff like this. Like Diane's channel didn't really suffer when she was exposed for being a thief. And this girl, Patreon's gone. But and like I said, I'm not ever going to say to people, pick up, let's get fired up and report her or whatever, because I'm not going to promote cancel culture. I think everything you just let it be and just let nature take its course. But something always in the back of my mind is it's a supply and demand thing. And it's like, why is there a demand for shit like this? Like, what's wrong with people?
But people aren't living in their communities anymore. They've lost touch with what it's really like to be in a community, and this fake community where they think they're making their own rules. I mean, look, you just need to scroll through some comments to see these warped views that people have on life, and the stupid things that they say, and the way they just repeat things that are planted in their mind, fake statistics and things like that. It's just that they don't realize how vulgar they are, really, because they're not living out in the real world where society does have rules and judgments and laws built on human values, shared human values, but they're just they're in a bubble. And unfortunately, if they've been there for long enough, yeah. And you can always tell the new people too to true crime, can't you? The newbies and
Oh yeah.
how
I think
yeah.
I think there's an interesting comment here too from Madelirium. What a great name. Madelirium says, welcome back, Jen. Says, some people value self-worth by subs, etc., like a mob mentality. If they have a lot of subs, people just assume they're credible and sub. And that's probably a good explanation. But then why don't they leave when they realize there's nothing credible about them at all? And now it's absolutely disgusting. Like, this isn't just something that's showing she's not a very credible true crimer. Like, she's actually, like my title says, like, how low can you go? This is the newest low of all time.
There is no boundary to Tiff, because she's running a business. She's doing it to make money. She's got shtick, and she clearly is. I don't know if there is such a thing as a covert psychopath or something. I don't know.
Right, she's lost a lot. Was she was only like was she only 2,000 away from 100,000? What was her sub count? Does anyone know?
97.1 she might be on now.
She's down. Yeah, she's on to 90.9.
Oh, sorry, Humanimal, go ahead.
Well, I mean, she has worked hard to grow her channel, okay? So
what, by being a sensationalistic bullshitter?
Yes, to do it, yeah. But she has, and she's slogged away, and she's done her lives, and she's been, she's created a brand, okay? That's what it is. That's what you see as a brand. She says it's her being real, the tie-dye color,
90.9.
But, so 90.9?
Yeah, that she's lost 7,000. On Saturday, right. She had 97.
A lot of the people that she gained weren't really supporters. There were subs that went on from maybe Ryan Upchurch, I think, and the people that were watching Kylie Rodney. But, they're not true. It's a fake number, if you know what I mean. They're not really probably continuing to watch her videos on other subjects and things like that. And so she's probably kept them because they're not updating their subscriptions. But the people that she's losing are people that actually may have been there from the start and have finally just had enough and sort of seen the light when it comes to Tiffany's true multicolours, I mean, she's not dense. That's right. She's not dense. She knows exactly what she's doing. Her apologies are fake. And yes, to minimize responsibility for things like that is so disingenuous, and it's so tone deaf. Yeah. So.
Oh, she's losing lots after News Nation. Go Brian. Well, I mean, like I said, it's one thing for all of us to be on YouTube and talking, because there is that crowd that just goes, oh, they're all just haters. Anyone who speaks up about reprehensible stuff on, you're a hater.
Or the one, right? As you
Brian
said,
Entin's credible.
Why are you watching me? Tune out. And it's like, what? So you can just run your mouth lying about people, being fake. Yeah.
It just breaks my heart because there are so many really good creators who cover true crime, who do it ethically, responsibly, morally, who twist themselves up in knots, not
don't
saying
think.
something, walking like, okay, could I cover the Idaho 4? Yeah, I could talk about the Idaho 4 every single night, right? But there's not a whole lot coming out that's new information, right? So what I'd essentially be doing is going over and over and over the same things over and over again, right? And then with the help of the chat, as it always goes, there would be people coming in who have a theory on some piece of information, right? And then it just kicks off from there. But I don't want to do that. How does that help anybody? I would much rather explain to people, listen, no. You're getting all excited over the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Bethany may have exculpatory evidence. Let me explain to you what exculpatory does not mean not guilty. It doesn't mean that he wasn't there. It just means evidence that might point to his being innocent. It might not. We see exculpatory evidence in trials all the time.
Absolutely. You and I are Club October, we're Club October, aren't we? When the trial happens. It's like, he gets mentioned in my, I don't know if you'd arrived yet, but because I brought him up earlier, but he gets brought up in my chat a lot. And I was contemplating doing a live at some point, which is basically, why is Brian Koberger's presumption of innocence missing in action? Because that's the one thing that does flip my tit, is how many creators are talking about him like he's already convicted. Don't get me wrong, I have pretty strong views about how I feel about the guy, but he's innocent until proven guilty. But then that would be the only reason. It was more of an observation of how many creators do this, like in the way they cover cases. They talk about him like he's 100% guilty and already convicted. But
then we have some that talk about it as if he's 100% innocent and he's been framed. For me, this is how I feel about it. He has, listen, Brian, in the United States of America, he has the presumption of innocence. That's the facts. Okay. However, there are times, if you're gonna discuss the evidence against him, I'm not on the jury. Okay. Yet. Which I'm not in Idaho, so I don't think they're going to be picking some crazy woman from Florida to sit on that jury. I don't have to.
You never know, Jen.
Crazier things have happened. I don't, like, if I'm just having a discussion, I tell everybody at the beginning of the stream, Brian has the presumption of innocence, but let's look at this objectively. Okay. Let's talk about what a probable cause is. In fact, I actually wanted to look at, because Letitia has 2 probable cause or arrest affidavits, one from before they found Gannon's body, which is when they extradited her, and then once they found him, there was another one, and the second one was sealed. And I'd like to look at that, and I'd like to go over that and show what happens every step of the way. So how big of a difference it is between what's in a probable cause affidavit versus what's presented at trial. It's not everything. It's not even an eighth of what they have. It is enough to get an arrest warrant. That's it.
Correct. Yep.
And I just want to show people that.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask you, Manimal, are you a wait till October team as well? With Idaho 4?
Yeah. I'm awake till January the 24th with Richard Allen. It's so repulsive how people in the Delphi murders situation, how they accused family, gave them no presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. And now those very same people are very upset that little Rick Allen is losing weight and, not looking very healthy. And he's probably been coerced into making those whatever.
Oh, his admissions over the phone to his wife.
He's probably got water tortured into it. It's so ludicrous. Those scum. They are scum. Hypocritical. Ugh. And they sermonize as if they are just so caring and so ethical, and they're a joke. Yeah.
Jen,
And,
what's
you know,
your next case? Is it Sarah Boone?
So, yes, it is. But before Boone, I'm going to talk about Ashley Benefield. And the reason I'm going to talk about her is because this is another Florida case, actually not all that far from Boone, as it were. I believe she's Manatee County, Lakeland, Florida, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But she
Is she the
killed.
ballerina one?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
And the
I missed
reason
the
I want
name.
to talk about her is because she's attempting to use the stand your ground defense. Okay. And it is a little bit, in this case, there's parallels between her defense and Sarah Boone's defense. Sarah Boone is going to attempt to use battered spouse syndrome. And I just want people to understand how it might look for Sarah. So I thought I would talk
she
about
doesn't
her
have a leg
case
to
first.
stand on.
Well, Boone, in my opinion, this is what negates the battered spouse defense. Once you put somebody in a suitcase and it's zipped, the threat is over. So you can kind of leave and then maybe call somebody to be like, I left him I had to contain him in some way, and a suitcase was all I could find. He's alive, but could you let him out? The threat ceases to exist at that moment. And her story is very wonky in the fact that he has injuries to his body. Some people think that there was a fight before and that then she put him in the suitcase. I'm not so sure I believe that.
Out, she put him in, kicked him down the stairs in the suitcase, taken off her flip-flops, left them next to the suitcase, jumped all over the suitcase. She just lost her mind. But, you know, neighbours have said that she did not want them interfering, calling police. The police were called so many times. And then she just didn't want them. Just leave it, you know.
Well, they were going to evict her eventually for that.
Right.
It's such a random.
I can't stand
case.
looking at her and listening to her. She's just not a human being to me.
It's so whack. It's so wackadoo, isn't it?
Okay, well, there was a hearing today. Okay.
Oh,
and once again, they're not ready. So the judge set another status hearing for the 21st, which will be 3 days before the trial is supposed to start on the 24th of July.
24th of July.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you,
I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it because she just churns my stomach so much.
Well, just wait, Humanimal, because Sarah wanted to be at all of these hearings, right? Well, she was absent today. So if you can't watch the trial, I have a very good feeling that Miss Boone will be writing another one of her letters to the court, and yours truly will have to be doing another dramatic reading of Sarah Boone's letter. So if you can't make it through the trial, you can just hear your girl here.
The dramatic reading of the
Sarah Boone letters. I've read them all. I should make a whole series. That's what I really need to do.
Oh, my God. Between her letters, Letitia Stout's letters, Rick Allen letter, he's writing one. He's throwing himself on the mercy of the court. But he's not saying he's innocent or anything.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, girls, it's late here for me. It's almost midnight here, so I'm going to hop off the panel.
Jumping up. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Jen.
You got to do lives at this time. This is better for me. I know it's not all about me, but
this is my day off, and I do get, analytics about the best time to go live, and anywhere sort of from either 7 a.m. in Australia or 10 a.m. to like about 2 p.m. is considered good time. And it's the first Wednesday in I don't know how long that I haven't had anything to do except go to the gym. And I'm like, I'm going live.
Yes.
So here we are. But I
noticed you girls are dressed in your winter attire, and it's hot as balls here in the United States. Everywhere's under a heat wave.
Yeah, back to front seasons.
Yeah.
It's so
But mind
hot
you,
here. It's
Animals in a warmer part of the country than I am, so I'm wearing even warmer stuff.
look at you. You guys look adorable, both of you.
In
I'll
that
never
little
be able to
winter
wear a
outfit.
I'll
Thank
never be
you.
able to wear a sweater again, not as long as I live in the Floridas. But I'm telling you guys, we've had like record heat in in like where I am in Florida, 90, 91 is about all it gets because I'm by the water. It doesn't get that hot, but it's been like 102, 104 with like 170% humidity. I mean, I'm telling you guys, check on your American friends
It's
in this humidity. Yeah, we're not
That's what
okay.
we
We're
have in
walking around looking
Queensland.
like alpacas. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Our hair is all curly. There's no hair product that can withstand 100% humidity. There isn't one. Believe me, I've tried them all. So I'm having to rock the messy bun like on a daily basis. It's very upsetting.
Well, animals up in the humidity, whereas down here, even though it's colder, it's also a dry climate. So, I mean, I do the messy bun without, but I've also got curly beach hair. So
I've got curly hair, so we're all looking like alpacas over here in the Floridas.
Apparently, Western Canada is stinking hot too, according to Madelirium.
Oh, speaking of tantrums and all that, which I don't think we really were, but it just reminded me because you said about our thing. And alpacas is what really reminded me. I have got a whole new audience loving the koala bear that throws the tantrum.
Oh, has it gone viral?
It's just so cute, that little koala bear. So upset he got kicked out of the tree. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen.
It's indeed a human tragedy. In fact, we may even end this live with it because it's one of my
little arms for me.
Places.
It's the arms. You know how he's got his little arms up and he's so upset. It's just so cute.
And the lady narrating it, she's like, there's heaps of other trees. Like, go up and have it. I love it. I love it too because it's in just suburban Australia. So all the Americans that think we have kangaroos hopping down the main road and koalas in our trees. And stuff.
Come on,
the fact that it is in suburbia.
My driveway.
Kangaroos are mean. Don't they kick you?
Only if they feel like they're attacked.
Especially the big ones. Yeah,
they are, but they don't just randomly do it. They've got to feel.
They don't just hop. You know, they don't hop over and just do random kick bys. Punching.
That's why we're all alive here still, because everybody thinks we've got all these animals that can kill you, and we do. But the reason we're not all dead is because if you don't threaten them, they leave you alone.
That's what people ask me all the time. Like I have waterways, you know, over here, canals over here in this neighborhood, and I have the alligators. And you know what? I'm not dead. Guess why? Because I know where they're at, and I don't go visit them in their home. I respect their boundaries and privacy. And therefore, they respect mine.
The privacy of an alligator is very important.
Well, listen. Well, I respect. They need privacy to do whatever it is, all the alligatoring things that they do.
We don't mess with crocodiles here either.
No, well, yeah. Except for Steve Irwin. He used to crack me up with that. Crikey, look at the jaws on that one. Isn't she a beaut?
I will never tire of your Australian accent.
Isn't it terrible?
It's good because it's so bad.
It's
beaut. Crikey. It's a winner.
Oh, crikey.
True.
Jeez, come on.
Ain't she a beaut? That dingo ain't my baby. All right, that's my last one.
That's a bad one because a dingo did actually.
I know. But remember when Elaine did it? No, remember when Elaine did it on Seinfeld after she got tired of the fiance? Maybe the dingo ate your baby.
Yeah, and look, Meryl Streep did fuck that line up big time in the movie. That's the only reason people say that. Yeah, poor little Azaria, not a good way to go.
No.
No.
And there's another, that is just such a case, that people should still cover to this day to show how, public opinion can be swayed, and you get these so-called experts in, and they just ruin people's lives.
People ruin lots of things. I believe that it's the human
We're not that
factor.
great, actually. Yeah. What's the common denominator in all of these horrible things we talk about? Oh, that's right, people.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not that great, actually.
No, we're probably we probably have a 5-star Google rating if I'm being honest.
And I just when he said that, I'm reading Jamon's comment. He's like, what did you say? Fun discussion right now, but I lost the thread. We know exactly what we're talking about. No fucking idea. And meanwhile, Journey to Justice and Madelirium, listen to them. We have moose and cougars, and they're not cute. And then Journey to Justice had a black bear in their village last week. Oh my God.
Nature's tired of our shit too.
I'd like that.
Oh, look, I'm horrible. I must admit, before you go, Jen, look, I'm horrible. I'm happy to admit it. I don't care. When a shark eats a person, I'm like, yes, Team Shark. I'm so for wild, like any wild animal attacking and destroying, eating a human, because I
don't think they should go and hunt the shark. And Vladimir. Now he's got the most.
They beat Vladimir Popov.
Name ever. So Vladimir
Popov. They beat that shark to death. They caught
that shark and killed it.
No, by beating it. They didn't even. It wasn't even an ethical killing. They beat it to death. I'm really anti that, but for me, it's like the amount of horrible things human beings have done to every kind of animal, every living thing on the planet, even plants. Every time a shark eats a person, I'm like, Team Shark.
You know all the other animals in the animal community are like, yes. They're cheering that shark on. All the other animals, they're like, yeah, finally some retribution.
Yeah. It's karma, baby.
The thing is, human beings can think, right? But here's the problem. I think people assume that human beings are born good and pure. No, we're born. We have to be taught empathy. We know this by the way children need to be raised, given spiritual guidance, given all sorts of different guidance to not commit a violent act to little Johnny with the truck and how to share and things like that. We need to learn empathy. We need to be taught empathy. And this is what is happening, is people are bringing up their children without guidance, without without thought how they're raising them. They're not being raised, and they're not being taught empathy and kindness and things. We do need to learn this. I think it's pretty obvious the extent of the evil of human beings. Okay, we are animals, just like but we get a lot of pleasure from a lot of things that animals are just going about their business with. And anyway, sorry not to bring everything down, but
Jen and I had everyone in stitches, man. What are you doing?
Team Animal just got real heavy.
The spiders and the locusts.
You're right.
I don't want in my house.
But now listen, Team Animal with the spider. Let me tell you this. Now, all this whole time, don't kill that spider, because that spider may have been under the impression that you are his roommate.
Yes.
And if you want to live him, then, that would be kind of mean. Just maybe scooch him.
No, I don't kill them, but,
no, they're helpers.
They get pretty big here, right? And I've got wolf spiders. They're a type of huntsman. But now I've noticed I've got wasps out under my carport here, and I don't know what to do because I don't want to kill them. But, I sort of tried flapping around a little bit, and they all got very angry.
No.
Don't flap at them.
No flapping. No, you have to get that relocated. You have to, because they're what? I've seen My Girl. You don't want to get it. No, you've got to get it removed by a professional. And they can do it really ethically. Like wasps and bees are so important to our ecology. They will do it really ethically, but no, you can't. I mean, I'm actually allergic to bees and wasps. And I love them. And I don't really love wasps, but I love bees. But no, you have to get them moved because that will become their permanent home. They will be there all the time. And they do swarm.
And I don't want them in the house. And
they'll get in your house. They'll chase you. It's terrifying to be chased by a swarm.
They're the little tiny ones, but they're really nasty. And
Google get an ethical remover, and because they won't kill them, they'll just relocate them.
Find one. Yeah.
I have frogs in my yard, and I'm scared of frogs. I've already told this story. There is a rational reason behind it. However, frogs are incredibly important to our ecosystem, and so guess what I do? I just walk away. When the frog is out there in my smoking spot, I just don't go over there. I'm just like, all right, frog, whatever, eat the bugs. I'll smoke over here. I stay away. I respect the.
It's a frog. It's not like an alligator. It's just
no, but listen. When my mom and dad were driving us back from California to Arizona, and it was something like biblical. The amount of frogs that were on this road. They were trying to cross and get to their water source, and we were driving up in a Prelude, which
playing Frogger.
Low, yes, and they were all over the car, and I could feel them being run over. And ever since then, I've been like, "Fuck these frogs." So I just don't mess with them. I don't hate them. I would never hurt them. I would never unalive them or anything like that. I just avoid them. But they scare the shit out of me. And then we have these other ones that are the tiny ones that are the tree frogs. And every once in a while, I'll hear something hit. And I'll look out the dadgum window, and it's one of those frogs with their little sucker feet. So gross. But I leave them alone because they eat the bugs.
Yeah, but in Australia, if you think they're gross, in Australia we have cane toads, and there's an actual documentary about them. And in the documentary, there is a cane toad shagging the fuck out of another cane toad that's been run over by a car. It's literally a
bless it.
Cane toad on the road, and this other cane toad's just rooting the crap out of it, and also a beer can.
They come out
they're disgusting
here in Brisbane, and they all get run over, and people try and run them over. I always stop and try and move them off because they're little creatures too, right?
Yes, and I would never.
The bandicoots actually can eat them.
Whoever created them was mean when they were handing out.
Ugly. I had a big one in here one season, and the drain pipe out the back.
Ugh.
Gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, so unfortunately they're not. Whereas the little tiny green tree frogs, they're so cute.
Yeah,
I love them.
Just adorable, and they make I mean, I will say this: they do make like a little cute sing song. They're little when they're trying to mate or whatever, and they're calling their bitches and hoes or whatever they're doing up there.
I'm so visual that I'm just like picturing a little frog going, "Hey, bitch, come over here."
Boats and hoes, boats and hoes.
Bring it on.
Hey, girl, hey. All right. Good night, girls. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for having me, Tor.
Jen, anytime. You know we loves you.
Thank you.
And Brad, thank you for having me.
Are you departing as well? Bye.
Yeah,
well, thank you so much.
Say my welcome.
I think we've covered everything. I love how we just get into these conversations and giggles at the end. It's always a nice way, I think, to end a live after a really heavy, sad topic. But
I'm always too serious, for sure.
No, it's good because I love that Jen and I were being absolute twits, and you can go so deep, and we're both like, oh, okay, hang on, get serious again. I love that dynamic. It's great fun, and thank you too to everyone hanging out in the chat. Like, we've made it to 3 hours. We're not. I did want to try and hang on in case Shanna came back, but she hasn't yet because she had a few things to say as well. But I'm not going to do a Zav Girl and go live for 12 hours like she did during what was it? During Kylie Rodney, and she actually
until she just timed out YouTube because that she reached the limit.
YouTube just went, we're sick of you. Shut the fuck up. Goodbye.
That is just, I mean, that was unbelievable. That just shows the milking it. Yeah. Calling Zaname herpy lip. The things that
Oh,
she tolerated on that show. The things that she, oh, but we're just discussing the maybe and the theories whilst they are accusing Jagger and,
all
yeah.
of them, and absolutely no regard at all. And the thing that just is so gut-wrenching every time someone does like this, whether it's Zav Girl with the Kylie Rodney, the innocent kids, whether it's what she's now done with Gannon, you punch those kids' names into Google, and this is the sort of stuff that's going to come up. The same with
Yep.
the Jacks in the Idaho 4. And it's just that absolute lack of regard for how much they are harming not just people's lives, but also kids' futures. Like these
Oh, yeah.
kids, Jagger, you type his name in now and Jack Decor and what comes up, that's not going to go away. Or the little, the siblings of Gannon who punch his name into Google. It's just,
Yeah.
that's what pisses me off so much. It's just, it's so negligent, and it's so obviously negligent. Like, there's no way people can do this and not know.
So selfish.
Like,
Yeah,
she's like, well, it was private and it was behind a paywall. It's like, you didn't password protect it. You didn't take the grossest shit out. You didn't put a realistic fee on there. If you're going to sell this shit, which in itself is reprehensible, but if you really wanted to protect it, charge people $500 to join your Patreon. If they really want to see that shit, they'll pay it. $3, any idiot can come in, and then you've got, allegedly, although I still haven't been able to find it, but a lot of people saying it's all over Reddit. Well, if it is, I can't find it, and I've searched every possible variation of terms and not found anything. There's certainly people on Reddit who are being very scathing about Zav doing it, but I haven't been, not that I want to see it, but even just seeing that there was a link shared would be enough to go, okay, it's on Reddit, but I haven't found anything. So whether Reddit's removed it, I don't know.
I wonder if it's screenshots or something.
I don't know. Well, I mean, look, I was saying, like earlier with Alec Murdoch, there was a photograph of Maggie's autopsy that was taken, like someone in the courtroom took a photo of it and leaked it out of the court, and the judge lost his shit over that. So it doesn't take much. It just takes one person to go and off, and it's out there for all the world to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think America understands quite how much freedom or, lack of privacy really that they actually have compared to other countries,
Yeah. Do you get people
how
saying
much-
to you about being careful about being doxxed and stuff? And it's like, in Australia, our privacy laws are so strict that even, and I keep using it because I think it's such a classic example of our privacy laws, like even now when the Idaho 4 is covered in our media, that classic photo of the 4 victims and the other 2 surviving housemates out on the deck like the day of the murders or the day before, whatever it was, they still blur out Dylan and Bethany. I've mentioned their names there, but they still blur out their faces, and they don't use their names in the articles. Even though any Australian following the case knows their names, obviously, and what they look like, but in the Australian media to this day, their faces and names are not revealed. Super strict. So things like being doxxed here, we can't find each other's mugshots. Like, that blows my mind that you can access that sort of information in America. Like, how many YouTube creators' mugshots have we seen?
People are reading people's phone data, and it's incredible. I think that's kind of spooky, But if they complain, they're complaining about the rights that they have too, though, sometimes with their due process and everything, the constitutional law and everything.
But they also defend their bullshit behaviour by saying it's my right to do this. And it's like, a right isn't a sweeping across the board, do whatever the hell you want, and the fact that it's your right will protect you. Like, rights don't extend to you being a horrible person. And if you are a horrible person, you can't use it. It's my right. It's that classic line, like, I'm entitled to opinion. Yeah, you are, but it doesn't mean your opinion isn't horrible or bullshit or not true. A right doesn't make everything you do okay. Like, there are those rights and privileges that are bestowed on you. There's responsibilities to respect them. And the second you step over a line and people call you out for being an asshole and you go, well, it's my right, no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Because there are people in countries the world over that don't have any of those rights and privileges, and you've got no idea what life's like there. Even the Australians, the Australians who brag about not voting correctly piss me off. It's like spend a year or a week in a Commonwealth country where you don't get to choose who governs you, and you'll respect your vote so much more. It annoys the hell out of me that people are like, oh, I just drew a penis on the ballot paper. Well, fuck you then. If you're going to complain about our government, you don't get to because you didn't vote, in my view. But yeah, I'm so tired of freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, freedom, my right to an opinion, whatever it is. It's not an all-encompassing right that means you can do whatever the hell you want and people aren't going to call you out and hold you accountable for it.
And also they get muddled up between terms of service on a privately owned app and the Constitution. I've got a right, I've got a right for freedom of speech they talk about on YouTube when they break the terms of service. Sorry, no, you're on a platform that has terms of service. You might not like them, but they might be disagreeable. They might not make very much sense, and they might not be very fair, and they might be very leftist. But that's the platform. But they'll say the Constitution, and they're talking about what they're saying on an app.
I know, and even the defending that, it's my, I tried to protect it all by putting it behind a paywall on Patreon. It's not like I just put it out there for everyone to see. Well, guess what, Zav Girl? Patreon didn't like you doing that, and they've removed your Patreon. So how's that argument working for you now, kiddo?
Yep. No, I really hope she gets the message. Look, 7,000 people voting with their unsubscribing finger.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed it's not more, but
hopefully now after News Nation, there'll be a lot more because and that's what Tiffany will listen to is subscriber numbers, loss of income. Yeah.
She's still sitting on 90K at the moment, though. I mean, that's still a very big number,
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But you haven't voted since you were 18 because you don't live in England and you're not a USA citizen. That's different. But yeah, Humanimal goes deep. She does, man. Although, Miss Kay, I think you're a little bit behind, maybe, or are you with us? Because you just mentioned crocodiles.
And we're not talking about the shoes.
Yeah, a right isn't a passage to be a dick. Exactly. And yes, Joman, per definition, right doesn't come without obligations. Exactly. So it's she's always deep. She has a good chuckle too, Joman.
They need to check their privilege. They need to check, their just value system. And I think people lose sight of that because, they've got there's this power trip really that I think she feels untouchable because she's had this shtick that works for her for so long. I don't know, guys. Well, it's not that bad. We're just only looking.
Yeah, we're not doing anything to hurt anyone. I don't know. I'm so confused now.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean in the comments that I'm disgusting?
I think she's understanding. I think 7,000 is enough to.
Bye, beautiful Francesca. It has been a great life. Thank you for hanging out with us too. But yeah, we could easily do you and I could do a hilarious. We could do a scene double Zav Girl parody. Just a bit of a central part. I've got a little. Have you got any tie dye? Anything?
I can make tie dye.
Oh yeah, we can. It's easy. I've got a navy or a blue.
I don't have any, but I did make some at one point. I
have got a blue and white tie dye shirt, like top. It's not as loud as hers, but
she has her. She's got her sidekick now, Juliet as fuck. Juliet AF, who's her girlfriend, who was a super fan, and
Right.
I don't know, you just sometimes when people have someone spurring them
She is
on,
German.
you just wonder, right? And yeah,
I'm
I
sorry,
hope
because
she mends
Jamin
instead of,
just saying, sorry, I keep cutting off because Jamin said, I find it hard to properly appreciate how deep Humanimal is because she's way too smart for most
I'm
of us, and
not,
I've agreed.
I'm stupid.
Be sure,
I
oh yeah,
never
we've got to
really
look
get it.
bewildered.
I'm always missing the point. I'm always like slow on the uptake. I'm never on board with. I don't know anything. I'm dogmatic.
You do. You
Well,
sometimes it's the way you put concepts together that other people don't even think about that makes you stand out on YouTube for sure.
oh,
Yeah. You've got a way of aligning lots of different concepts together and tying them all up, and they make one bigger concept that makes sense. And that's a skill.
it's a tricky thing to work out with YouTube, isn't it? Because I don't put. This sounds terrible to the people that support me and subscribe because I don't put any thought into it. I don't have any, vision for my channel. I don't commit to any schedule. I must come across as quite ungrateful sometimes because I'm not, I don't know, because it's just very much a response to it's very much a response channel where I just, just mouth off on things. But I disagree that we do need to speak up when we see something and just say why, because a lot of people, they feel like they can't talk, but if they see someone that is on live or is online, and showing who they are, showing themselves, not just a fake avatar, it's not a character, it's a real person that maybe they can relate to, it gives them the strength to actually speak up themselves. I love that captured shot there. That's hilarious.
Because I've got a new laptop and it's tricky. I have to keep Googling how to do screenshots because it's different to my previous one. And I kept doing so many different trying to get so many different screenshots of her.
No, that's a classic Tiffany look, actually. She always has this.
I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm a grifter? What do you mean I'm a tragedy pimp? Oh my God. Why can anyone watch it?
To a certain level, and then you think, come on.
But check out her right eyebrow. It looks like a sperm. Tell me it doesn't.
Wriggling quick. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right, Shanna. Shanna's going to jump up. Let me just drop the link for Shanna Banana.
So I can sign off. I'll
You can if you want to tag on, whatever
I'll let you have a good chat with your guests. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you so much, Humanimal. I just adore you.
I don't mean to, but thanks for speaking up about this, Tori. And I think it's a very interesting view that you have, especially from the legal perspective, and you're able to juxtapose Australian law with, America, and maybe highlight in a way, because you're knowledgeable, give people a lot more food for thought about what the real problems are,
Yeah, I think because it's so interesting, and it's definitely not one country is better than the other thing either. It's just some of these nuances are so different, and we don't suffer because we don't get to watch trials being streamed. There's no one in Australia going, oh, my taxes pay the judge's salary, I'm entitled to watch these trials and keep them in check, because there's an appeals process in place for any judges or anyone else who fucks up, and the same with this being able to access this sort of information. Like, what does anyone gain from it? And in fact, look at how destructive it is when it's put in the wrong person's hands. So I'm going to bring up gorgeous Shanna.
And just that one point too is that people often say, well, what businesses are for your, yours. Why are you watching anyway? You're in Australia. Cover your own cases. Well, you know, in part, we do get caught up a lot in cases in America because we do have access to a lot more information. So it's kind of that, you know what you call it? What is it? So
Double-edged
it's kind of
sword.
not a catch-22, but yeah.
Yeah, I know it's like it is a
Not
double-edged
to be
sword. Yeah.
hypocritical, because of course that's why we do get interested in cases, but of course we are you know, shocked a lot more. And yeah, anyway, Shanna, hello, bye, thank you for having
Hi.
me. I'll leave.
See, I know how to
See ya.
clear out a room.
But
No,
no,
I
you
was
don't.
just going to sign off anyway because I've
Your
been here
animal's
for
been trying to
ages.
leave since Jen Lou did. I wouldn't
No,
let her.
because I give someone else the floor, you know. Thank you, see you later.
Thanks, you animal. Hello, Shanna.
Hi, I won't stay long. I actually can't. I have to
That's
get
all right.
some
My
stuff done,
bladder
but,
is almost at that point anyway. So there'll be a point where if you don't end, I'll be like, I've got to go and you've got to hold the fort. So, so what's up, gorgeous? What's your opinion on all of this stuff?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, gosh. Well, that was quick. Did you hear any of what I just said?
No,
I
not a
said,
thing.
well, I got here late, so I want to say something, but it could have already been said.
That's all right.
So the one thing I wanted to say was when I read Zav Girl's response about being able to look at things in a detached scientific way, it made me nauseous because she is a YouTube creator, a human being. She's not like a forensic examiner. You know, it's just mind-blowing to me that she's in this community and she's not able to empathize to that level. And one thing I wanted to kind of say it reminded me of was when I watched a little bit of the Parkland trial.
Yep.
And the one day I was able to watch one, could only sit through one, but it was Luke Hoyer's autopsy medical examiner's testimony. And he got emotional. Like you could tell he was, as a medical examiner, he was like fighting back tears as a, you know, forensic pathologist, you know, just able to even have that human part of him. It was really bothering him to say some of the things he had to say.
Yeah.
Because the parents were sitting probably 20 feet away from him and he knew that you know, they were there. And for him to have that he is a scientist, you know, and he had empathy. So he needs to log off. She needs to log off and do some soul searching. And that's all I really had to say.
Yeah. And look, I agree entirely because I was explaining, it might have been after you popped out for a little while, very similar. Well, not really similar. I mean, the medical examiners and coroners falling apart breaks my heart. But the thing is, for me as a criminal defense lawyer, part of my job, unfortunately, is crime scene photos and autopsies. And I mean, I'm not practicing criminal at the moment, but
right.
Even in court, like we've all cried at some point. Like I've had judges that have cried, you know, the court staff, jurors, obviously, lawyers, experts, but and there's still some humanity in there, but we are also, at the end of the day, it's evidence and it's factual and we've got a job to do. And
exactly.
None of us are given training. I mean, maybe these days people who study law and become coroners and so on are, but none of us are given training on how to process all of this stuff. But what I was saying earlier is why I find YouTube fantastic, even for me to be able to talk about crime, is we are allowed to show our humanity. We are allowed to be upset by stuff. Like that's, to me, what makes me attracted to other creators is that beautiful humanity. You don't have to be stoic and professional. You can fully emotive. And for me, that's the thing I find really appealing or a really lovely thing about YouTube is there's the opportunity for humanity to thrive. And she's just shown that you can be successful on this platform without exhibiting any.
Yes. And the only other thing I'll add really quick, because I do have to go, is there's a creator, and I will not say her name, that is talking about, well, that's your moral compass and you can't, you can't force your moral compass on other people. Don't
It's
watch
life
it.
perplexed, everybody.
Exactly. And
Sorry, I don't
this
care.
is what I have to say. She is the
Mhm.
most obtuse person I have ever heard on the internet. And I
Mhm.
just want to say that she needs to understand that you can't talk about moral compasses when you have none. And she has no moral compass, clearly. And I could go on and on about her, but my point is she just drives me crazy because she has so many subscribers and she blocks anyone who doesn't encourage her little echo chamber of
Mhm.
soulless darkness or whatever. I mean, I just can't. I cannot with her.
Well,
Anyway.
what annoys me about her is that there are still people in her chat that were there 5 years ago when we all started traipsing into the YouTube world, or many of us did, who I still think are really lovely people, and I just don't know how the fuck they're still in there.
Right?
Like, because it's been such a fall from grace. And I do want to do a reaction to one of her videos defending Zav, because I don't want to do it in this live, because this live, I really wanted everyone to be able to talk how this has affected them, you know, and have a heartfelt live. But I do want to do I mean, part of me doesn't want to give her any airtime, but another part of me is like, just as a little standalone, let's just laugh at this because it's so fucking bad.
Yes.
Her reasoning for defending Zav. And yeah, I mean, fancy, like you said, saying don't force your moral compass on other people
that
when you
doesn't
don't even
make
have one.
sense.
No.
And I mean, it's yeah, and she's in the wrong community. I mean, as far as like, she doesn't even need to touch true crime because
She's never been good at that. Let's be
No, but-
honest. Like, it's never been a forte.
she thinks she's amazing. I mean, isn't she like a wannabe attorney or something? But I don't know. It's just this whole.
As an attorney, we're not allowed to be critical of our colleagues, but I'd make an exception if she was one.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't with her, but yeah.
I'd risk being disbarred, to be honest, about her as a lawyer, for sure.
I know. Anyway, I just wanted to add that little tidbit. I can't stay up, but thank you, Tori. I'm sorry. I'll have to rewind and watch the beginning of this.
No, I love you. You know that. And I really appreciate you popping up. And I just find it funny that ridiculous thing that Zav wrote. And I mean, even the fact that it's been on News Nation and Brian Entin read some of it out of gold. But the thing about it is, you know, there's clearly a divide. You know, there's some people who think it's okay and some people who don't. It's like, no, absolutely everyone except for you, Bullhorn Betty, and Life Perplexed think it's terrible.
Right.
Like, it's
and
literally three of you. There's no them and us here. There's no side.
And I'm sorry.
Everyone agrees.
And it's
except
in
for
my
those three.
opinion. Yeah. And in my opinion, the last thing I'll say is it's not scientific or detachment. It's more morbid. I don't know. Like it's
voyeurism.
Yes.
And morbid curiosity for sure. And not even curiosity, like
sadistic.
I think it's sadistic. They want fulfillment from it. To get to that point that's the sort of thing you want to see.
I mean, to make money off of it, you know?
Yeah, no, it's disgusting. And she's, you know, referred to everyone who's speaking out about this on YouTube as haters and we're all attacking her. Well, sorry, kiddo, but now that News Nation has done it.
Yeah.
And he's referred to you as sick, and it wasn't disgusting. It was something despicable.
Yeah.
Is he a hater, mate? I think you've played a bit of News Nation on your channel before because you think they're credible. A pretty interesting little twist there. So, look.
Yep.
Honestly, Shanna, the stuff you and I have seen, and we talk about this often because Shanna and I are mates offline as well. Whenever something really low happens on YouTube, we're like, that's got to be the worst thing. And then boom. And then here we are again.
Yes. Every quarter, almost every few months, something lower happens.
Yeah.
It's like
unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just nothing surprises me anymore. But this one actually did. This one's
it's shocking.
This was beyond anything I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, the shock element with this is it's that no way, no, she didn't, nuh-uh. And for anyone who, I think someone just commented about, Madelirium, I love that name, Laura wanting to gain subs with Zav's minions. I think Bullhorn Betty is exactly the same. There is absolutely no other reason you would put your reputation, whatever that might be with those two, on the line to defend this, unless there was something in it for you. And it's all about, like, because look at Laura defending Molly. It was bloody obvious that she did that just so Molly's supporters, and look what happened. They all went running to, thank God someone's sticking up for Molly. She's done nothing wrong. Oh, fucking oath she has.
Right. They come
Molly
swarming
goes,
over her
bye-bye.
just like flies on shit. Yep.
Yep. And now and Patreon has decided that Zav isn't going to be on their platform. So boom, she's no longer on there. She's lost over 7,000 subs and counting. Brian Entin's called her sick. Get with the program, Betty and Laura. You're looking like absolute fuckwits.
So has Zav Girl been demonetized off YouTube for this? Like this has to. This has
I
to.
don't know. Look, I think YouTube's so slow to do anything.
But now that
she's lost another 1,000 subs just since I last looked at her sub count. She's now down to 90.8. She was over 97,000. But I don't know. How do I even work out if she's still monetized? Looking at a channel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I don't know how your people can tell that.
No, that's
something with memberships. Does she have memberships? I don't even know. I've never been a subscriber.
Well, I can't see it. Do you get a tab for? I mean, she has got members. If I click on join, Truth Warriors.
Yeah, right.
Justice Warriors, and at the princely sum of Australian $19.99 a month, you can be a love warrior, and you get loyalty badges, and some of them are photos of her.
Yeah, I'm a hard no.
Hard pass there. So yeah, that's still there. So she's still monetized, but yeah, she's lost another 1,000 subs since we last did a sub count. That's my new favorite spectator sport.
Nice. All right, Tori, love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming up and hanging out with me, and everyone else who did as well. Humanimal, Jen Lou. Thank you to everyone in chat too. You guys rock. Bye, Shanna. What do we end with? I know. We'll end with the outro. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out, and yeah, I really appreciate all of you. As always, chat was fantastic. You guys are just the best. And we've got some new members as well, which like not membership members, but new people finding our community as well. But I really appreciate you all hanging out. I'm going to get some gym gear on and go and take out my remaining frustration on a punching bag. But yeah, I think it's just really important. And you guys, I always feel like when I'm chatting to you guys, like we all are reasonable people and think alike anyway. But for anyone that might have stumbled into this live and you're still with us at the end, it's so important to keep speaking out about this stuff. If you love this community, if you see value in it, if you can see the potential, if you want the community to return to the fun times we used to have, then speak up, because that's how change is going to happen. And I love that there are so many people out there that want to protect this community as well. And that, at the end of the day, is what's driving so many people. It's one thing for all of us to focus on victims and their families, but we're focusing on protecting this community as well. And we want to make it a great place. We want to make it a better place. And Zav Girl, seriously, do better. Own up to your shit. Like, I will not, no one could pay me enough money to subscribe to you ever. But I swear to God, if you go live and say, I realized in hindsight this was fucked up, people are going to at least respect you for that. Might only be a little bit, but it's more than they do now. Until next time, wasn't it a great live? Haven't I got awesome friends in this community? You guys are amazing. We might be small, but we're awesome. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. And I'll see you all again very soon. I think I will react to one of Laura's lives defending Zav, because seriously, if you need a laugh, it's pretty funny, despite how bad the subject matter is. Yeah. Until next time, don't get struck by a smooth criminal.
Music Wabacha. He left the blood stains on the carpet. She ran out at the table. He could see she was unable. So she ran into the bedroom. She was struck down.